let's get into this. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you everything from the beginning to the end. Today, we're going to create a brand new account. I'm going to create his mailbox. Then we're going to log in as him. And then I'm going to show you, because when you create the when you set up a new server, you have to change the policies on the server and stuff like that. I'm going to go over that as well, where you would do that and how do you go into that. So the first thing you need to do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So let's go into share screen, screen one. All right. So I'm on screen one right now. So this is going to be a ticket that you will encounter in your job, by the way. I'm not making this up. New hire request, Jimmy Chan, Department IT, title, Senior Software Developer, company number. His email should be jchan@kevtech.local. Add him to admin groups to make him an admin on the local side, and no share drives, and give him access only to his personal drive. So you will see this in your job. I'm just letting you know right now. If you don't see this in your job, then maybe your environment doesn't have it. So I am going to go over this right now, and I'm going to show you how to knock out this ticket, and I'm going to show you what you should be doing as a new admin in IT. So I have my server right over here. I'm going to drag it to the right over here so you can see it. And basically what you do is first thing you want to do is analyze the ticket. Just look at it. Just look at it first. All right. So this guy's a new hire, or this guy's a new hire. This girl's a new hire. They want to be part of the department IT. The title is Senior Software Developer. The company number is there. They want to be part of the admin group, and they have a special request for share drives, none. Give him access to his personal drive. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create the account. But before we get into creating the account, I want to show you some stuff that you need to look at when you first start IT. So if you're starting IT and you have access to this, good for you. If you don't, you don't. Obviously, it's different for every company. Literally, the first thing you want to do on this server, if you have access to a server, you go into Server Manager. So you go to the bottom left-hand side, you type Server Manager, you click on Server Manager. Then, the next thing I want you to do, if you're starting your first job in IT, I want you to go into Tools, and I want you to go into Group Policy Management. So we have our Group Policy Management, and when I first started creating this server, I noticed that this server doesn't have a lockout policy, and I had to enable it. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So if you go into Settings, so you have the forest, the domain, and the forest. We want to go into Settings. So we're going to click on Kevtech local default domain settings, and you see that the lockout is 30 minutes, 3 invalid attempts, 30 minutes. So, and you have a minimum password age is 42 minutes, and password history is 24 passwords remember, and maximum password length is 7 characters. So now we know all this. This is all the information you should know as a new person in IT. Keep that in mind. If you're new to IT, you should be looking at this when you first start IT. Don't break anything. Don't touch anything. Obviously, they won't give you that much access. You might be able to see this. You may not be able to see this, but it's good to ask them, how long is a password good for? What is the complexity of the passwords? You also want to find out how many times someone can log in until they get locked out, and what's the lockout duration and stuff like that. So this is like practice for us, obviously. So this was set to 0, by the way. Everything was set to 0 when it came to account lockout policy, like I said, and I'm going to show you how to change that right now. So if you go into default domain, you right click on it, you hit edit. You go into, see, this is the domain, this is the server itself, the name of the server. You go into computer configuration, go into policies, you go into software settings, you go into Windows settings, you just expand everything. We care about the security settings. So let's go into security settings, click on that, and then we're going to click on account policies. This is under account policy. So we're going to expand that, and we're going to expand that, and we're going to click account policy. So you see the passwords in force history is 24. You could change this to whatever you want. You can make it 30 days, 40 days. So this video is going to be very in-depth because I'm going over group policy, obviously, and I'm creating the account and doing a bunch of other stuff. So password age is 1 day. Maximum password length is 7 days. And then you have your account lockout policy. So this was set to 0, by the way, before I set it up. So I put define policy, and I put 30 minutes. And I put invalid attempts, I put 3 attempts. Some companies may have 3, some may have 5, some may have 4, some may have 3, some may have 2. So this is how many times you could log in before your account locks you out, if that makes sense. If you're trying the password too many times. So I'm gonna hit OK, close, and I'm gonna hit close. So that's how you would do it, and you hit save. So I'll show you. I'm gonna go back into it right now. So you go into Server Manager, Group Policy Management, right click on it, hit Edit. We're gonna change it just to show you what it does. I'm gonna change it again. So Windows settings, security settings, account lockout policy. Change it to 4. I'm gonna hit apply. I'm gonna hit OK, and then I'm gonna close out of this, and then I'm gonna right click on it. Right click on it. I'm gonna hit enforce policy or enforce, and it should be good. So now we're good now. So there's 4 attempts now for this account. So you want to set it up for your computer or your server. So if you have a server installed, make sure you set this up on your computer because this will be set to 0 by default. You want to change it to something. So make it more realistic in the environment that you're working in, if that makes sense. So now this is set up. Now I want to create the new account. I want to show you that because this is something you should be looking at when you first start IT, if that makes sense. So this video is going to cover a bunch of stuff. So now we have a request for a new hire. We know there's a new hire. So we're going to go into the server itself. And I'm gonna do this step by step, and I'm going to slow down on it. I don't want to go too fast and confuse everyone. So we're going to go into our server manager. Click on server manager. We're going to go to the top right-hand side. We're going to click on tools. We're going to click Active Directory users and computers. I created a shortcut, by the way, so I right-clicked on it and I hit pin to taskbar. So if you don't want to keep opening this, like, see how there's nothing here, and you want to create a shortcut, you could put a shortcut, or you could click on it mostly used. See, this is most recently used. You click on it, you right-click on it, you hit pin to taskbar. Like that's the easiest way for me. Like if I have access to a server, I will literally put shortcuts everywhere on the server to make my life a lot easier. So if you're a new guy in IT, I recommend doing that. Even the server itself, see I'm in the Exchange server, even this, I bookmarked it on Chrome on the server itself because it makes life a lot easier for me, if that makes sense. So I recommend creating shortcuts if you're starting out new in IT, because you're not going to remember everything. Even the people that are veterans or have experience in IT, they create bookmarks for everything because you're not going to know where everything is. You're going to forget. You'll do it maybe 1 or 2 times or 3 times, and then later on throughout the year, you forget how to do it. So all right, so now we're on Active Directory users and computers. So we have to create a new account. We know his name is Jimmy Chan, and we know he has a department, he has a title, he has a number, he has blah, 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 he has all these things, right? So when you go into Active Directory users and computers, obviously there are subfolders for everything. So in your environment, you may have a subfolders that look like this, you may not. It depends where you work. So there's a folder called users, you want to add them in there. And basically you right click on it, and you hit new user, and you're gonna put Jimmy Chen, and the username is gonna be J Chen. How do I know that? Well, look at how do I know it's Jimmy J Chen as the username? I go into the other accounts on the computer, so on the server. I mean, I go to other accounts. So like, if you're new to IT, you're new to desktop support. Literally, what I do, I literally uniform it based on the other accounts that are created on the server. So if I go into Aaron Wells, and I go into account and it says A Wells, right away I know that they go by the first letter of the name and the last name. So I have to do the same thing with Jimmy Chen. So I'm going to go back into users, right click on it. I'm going to hit new user, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to mirror whatever I see already existed on that user folder, if that makes sense. That's how I look at it. That's how you should analyze it, if that makes sense. So Jimmy Chen. So we know it's going to be J Chen. And we're going to hit next. And then I'm going to do password change password on next login. So literally when they log in, they're required to change their password. Literally required to change their password. So we're going to do capital P, password 123. And obviously we're going to log in as the user, and I'm going to show you what happens. Password 123, and hit next, next. So now their account is fully created. And I want to add more information. I want to add the department, their title, and everything here. So what we're going to do is we could either right click on it and hit properties. Right click on it and hit properties. Or we could, well, actually, I don't know why it's doing that. Let me see. Actually, yeah, that does make sense. Let me see seems like my right click's not working. It's like stuck for some reason. All right, that's fine. So you could double click on him. It's fine. My right click's messed up. So you could double click on him, and we're gonna do the email. So we know it's J Chan, right? We know it's J Chan. So we're gonna do J Chan at kevtech.local. And then we're gonna go into, sometimes people will put their office in there if you like, that's entirely up to you. The number's right there. So I'm not sure if it's gonna let me do it, but we're gonna do XXX to see if that works. It might not work, it may give me an error message, but we'll see. So XXXXX, that's the telephone number. You're gonna hit apply. Then we'll put the address, we'll put like 300 Park Avenue, because it's based in New York. I'm gonna do New York, NY 1002. And then we're gonna put the country or origin, whatever, and we're gonna put the United States. So you'll be required to do this in your job. You may not be required to do this. You may be or may not. HR might do it. You might do it. The server admin might do it. Somebody will do this, by the way. It's not like it's gonna be blank. It's not gonna be blank. Someone will do this in your job. Somewhere in your job, someone will do this. The account is J Chan. We know that. And then we have telephone profile. And the phone number, you can put it right over here as well. So organization, we have job title. So job title will be, because we have a job title for him, it's going to be senior software developer. And then we're going to do department is IT, so we know the department is IT. And then we'll put Kevtech as the company. So, it's Kevtech is my username or my, my YouTube channel name. Then he has a manager, you put it in here. You hit apply. And now he needs access to a shared drive or a personal drive as well. So we want to look at that as well. That's super duper important. So we're gonna hit OK. Like Kevin, how do you create a personal drive, or how will you get a personal? Like, how do you set up a personal drive? Basically, what I do is I look at another account on Active Directory. So if I know that there's another account that has a personal drive, then I just copy that, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use common sense. I'm using common sense basically. So if I go into Aaron Wells and double click on Aaron Wells, I would literally go into Aaron Wells. I go into accounts, looking for profile, and I see he has a home folder already. So I will literally go into him and look at his profile and double click on it and copy and paste it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go back to Jimmy Chan, because that's the account I created. I'm going to double click on him. I'm going to go into profile. Because he wants the Z drive. So the personal drive is the Z drive. I'm going to copy and paste. And I know his name is not A Wells. I know his name is J Chan. So I'm going to delete that and I'm going to put J Chan. And it should work. It shouldn't give me an error message or anything. So I'm going to hit apply, hit OK. So now I know there's a folder directory called home for him. And how do I confirm that this is actually mapped for him successfully? I will literally go into my folder directory on the C Drive Explorer right over here on the share drive, or on the server. I will go into this PC. I will go into local disk, and there's a home folder right there. I know there's a home folder right there. His name should be right there. It should be J Chan. So we double click on it, or click on it one time. Actually, double click on it. Sorry about that. It should be J Chan. And how do you know that this folder belongs to him? You could go even further into it, actually. You right click on it, and you hit properties, and you hit sharing, and you hit share. And it's going to show him right there. He's right there. He's literally right there. Now, if you want to get into further detail, obviously you go into security, and it's going to tell you that he has full admin rights to that, full inheritance rights to that folder, if that makes sense. And if you hit the advanced settings, it's going to show that he's not inheriting anything but that folder and that folder only, if that makes sense. So this is NTFS. You need to understand what this is, if that makes sense. This is shared drive permissioning. So he only has access to that one folder, and that's it. Nothing else. That's the way you set it up. He shouldn't have access to everything, plus the folders behind it, plus the folders in front of it. In front of it, it makes sense, but the ones in behind it doesn't make sense. Hopefully this makes sense. And obviously, if you go into advanced sharing, the reason why we do it on a server is because you have about 167,000 people that could connect to that folder directory. On a server versus on a local computer, you cannot do that. So if you go to a local computer, I'm on my local computer, and say for example I create a new folder, and I call it home, right? I call it home. Then I right click on it. I'm just showing you just to show you for people that are like, why is not created on a local computer? You go into sharing, you go into advanced sharing. You can only share this with 20 people. So why would you create a home directory folder on a local computer? That doesn't make any sense. So that would be in a server, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to delete that just to show you guys. All right. So now he has a home directory. We know he has a home directory. So we are good to go. Now we have to create a mailbox for him. So I'm going to show you what happens when you create a mailbox. So we're going to close out of that. We're going to open up your web browser, or you could open up the Exchange console, up to you how you do it. Obviously, if you don't know how to install Exchange 2016 on Server 2016, watch my other videos. I have a video on this, by the way. I have a full-blown video on how to do this on a virtual machine. The reason why you need to understand Exchange 2016 is because it's part of Azure, and Azure looks almost similar to on-premise Exchange 2016. So this looks almost the same thing. So you'll be doing the same thing actually on your computer on this. So that's the reason why I go over it, because you will encounter this. You will see this in your job. You will encounter this in your job. I'm just letting you know right now. So now we want to add him to the mailbox. So depending on your environment, every environment is different, but usually by default, the user will show up right over here. You just have to add him in here, if that makes sense. It'll actually, the Exchange server talks to your domain controller, which is kevtech.local. So you should be able to add him here. I'm going to show you what I mean by now. So if you hit the arrow key pointing down, I logged into my Exchange console. It logged in. It logged me out. Let me just log in again. I'll show you how I log in. You log in with your admin credentials, or the account that's created with it. And I want to add him here. So you would hit the little arrow pointing down, user mailbox. Obviously, we're not creating a new user account. He's already on Active Directory on the domain controller. You literally hit browse, and then you hit Jimmy Chan, you hit OK. And I got over this before. If you go to more options, obviously, if the person is located in New York, you put him in a New York mailbox. If he's in London, you put him in a London mailbox. If he's in Japan, you put him in a Japan mailbox. So you put him in the server or the mailbox or the mail database based on where he lives and where he's located. You don't put him like literally across the map in a different location, if that makes sense, because otherwise he'll have latency with his emails. So if he's based in New York, you put him in New York, and that's it. That's pretty much it. You know, common sense, right? Hopefully that's common sense. And you hit save. Now, how do you know that it actually replicated on the domain? How do you know all the information I typed in actually replicated on the Exchange server? You could actually see it right here. So if you see this, literally the work phone number is right there, XXX. Literally the title is right there. Literally the title is right there. So you know that it actually imported properly, if that makes sense. Now, if you go into it further detail, just FYI, if someone, before I even get into details with that, just FYI, if someone ever leaves the company and you want to hide them from the address book, you do it right here. You hit hide from address book and you hit save. It even tells you right there. If you select this option, the user won't appear in your organization address book or other address lists, but they will still receive emails sent to them. So you could hide them right here and hit save. So if you don't want them to show up on your Outlook directory, you literally check mark that and you hit save. All right. So now I'm going to hit mailbox usage. Don't worry about that. Contact information. Look, it updated. Look at that. I don't even got to do anything. I did it on Active Directory and it actually imported everything on Exchange. So this is what you will see in your job and your environment. Look at that. In the department is set up, company is set up, email address is right there, mailbox is right there. You know, he is not part of any groups. Now, we know that he is fully set up, by the way. So this is actually working. We're going to go back to that ticket. So it actually said that add him to admin group. So he should be an admin. He should be part of admin groups. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So, you know, we create Active Directory, domain, users, and computers as a shortcut. So you're going to click on it again. You're going to go into the users folder. You're going to go into Jimmy Chan. You right click. You could right click on it and hit properties. Now the right click is actually working. Or you double click on it and you hit members. And in members, you do add. And there's two ways to do it. You could either type admin and then check for names and it'll show up. Or you could go into the advanced settings and then hit find now. And it'll show all the accounts associated with your server or with your computer, if that makes sense. And you just click on it. So we're going to add them to administrations and hit OK, hit OK, hit hit apply, hit OK. Now I know that this is a new hire. With me, like I like to do things from A to Z. I don't like to just create the account and then not test it. Now let's log in as him. How do you let's just log in as him. So the ticket is right here. I'm not gonna close the ticket yet. Obviously, we're gonna go into our computer, and we're gonna do first of all. Let me restart this real quick because his name should not show up right there. So by the way, I did delete his account and I'm recreating it again. So let me just restart real quick. His name should not show up. Let me restart real quick. It should be nothing there. Let's see. All right, it's still there. All right, that's fine. That's totally fine. So how do you confirm that the computer is in a domain? It says Kevtech. So the domain is Kevtech right over here on the left-hand side. How do you confirm that that this computer belongs to the domain controller or belongs to Active Directory users and computers? How do you confirm that? You go into computers. How do you confirm that this computer is actually desktop 1? Literally, you type // I'll show you right now. You type / desktop 1. Look at that, desktop 1. So it's actually on the domain, and this computer is actually on the Active Directory users and computers. So let's log in as him. Let's just see what happens when we try to log in as him. So we know what the username is, J Chen. So let's just confirm that it's that. So literally, you go back to users, you double click on him, J Chen, and the password is set to change on next login. So let's just log in and see what happens. So it's gonna be J Chen, capital P, password 123. I think it's what I set it up as. Look at that immediately. User must change his password before signing in. You hit OK. So we're gonna change the password to capital W welcome 123, capital W welcome 123. I think I missed the 3 right over here. So I'm gonna try that again. Capital W 123. All right, and then we're gonna hit. You can hit the arrow key or you can press enter. Entirely up to you. Password has changed. Now, how do you confirm that the password has changed successfully on this computer on this person's account? How do you confirm that? How do you confirm that this is actually like they actually logged in successfully? Obviously, they're able to log in. So that's how you know. Another way to confirm that is if you go to Active Directory users and computers, you double click on Jimmy Chen, you go into account, and you see it says user password must change at next login. Remember it was checkmark? It's not checkmarked anymore. So that means he logged in successfully. All right. So if I was the IT desktop support IT guy, desktop support level 1, me as a professional, I put a bunch of shortcuts. So like if I have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, I put it in the taskbar. I would literally remove this. I will remove this. I will remove this. I will remove this. I would open up Chrome. I would set it as a shortcut. I would open up Excel, PowerPoint, everything, set it as a shortcut. I will literally go into default apps. And then change that. So like email for me would be Outlook. I click on Outlook. If I go all the way down to web browser, I change it to Chrome. If he's a Chrome user, then I'll close it out. And literally, if I want to confirm even further into detail, I want to make sure it has H drive as map. How do I do that? I click on the C Explorer, yellow triangle, or yellow folder, sorry. Hit this PC, and it should show up right there. And then if it was me, because this is the way I work, I create a shortcut. I put it on the desktop, and it actually works. So now he's good. Now he's fully set up. We know he's fully set up. He's logged in and everything. So this is what a new hire should be set up as. You log in as the user. You create their account. You create their mailbox. You create their title. You make sure their shared drivers are fully mapped successfully, and you create shortcuts for them on their desktop. That's how you do a new hire, if that makes sense. So I could close this ticket right now with my eyes closed, literally. And sometimes some of these tickets, they want people that have certain applications like Adobe Acrobat, Creative Cloud, and stuff like that. So literally, I could close this ticket right now. Like literally, I could close it right now. Put close. I'm gonna go back to it and put notes on it. I'm gonna put account has been created. Mailbox was created. I also logged in as the user and tested everything, and make sure that the home drive is mapped. Save. Now, I'm going to show you something else. Now I'm going to show you what happens if someone tries to log in 4 times in a row and locks their account. Say, for example, this is Jimmy, the software developer, and he remembers his password, but his keyboard is malfunctioning, right? So he can't log in because his keyboard is malfunctioning. So he's typing he's typing with the keyboard too many times, the incorrect username and password. So it's like, all right, Kevin, I don't know why I can't log in. I went on, I'm gonna lock the computer. I'm gonna do Control Delete. Kevin, I'm trying my password. It's not working. See, your reference account is locked out. It may not be logged into. So then he calls you, hey, Kevin, I'm locked out of my account. Can you unlock my account? So when you get a call like that, you want to find out who he is first. You want to find out what department he works, and you want to find out if it's actually him. It's not a robot. So good morning or good afternoon. IT Kevin speaking. How can I help you? Hey, hey, Kevin, my account is locked out. Can you unlock my account? I'm sorry, who's calling? My name is Jimmy. What's your last name? Chan? Jimmy Chan, yeah. What's your username? RSJ Chan. What department you work at? I work as a software developer. All right, let me see your account. Do you want me to change your password or do you want me to just unlock your account? Can you unlock my account? I think I know what my password is. The problem is my keyboard got stuck. All right, let me check your account for you. So right away, you know his account is locked out. So you want to go into Active Directory, Users and Computers. You could right click on him and just type J Chan, or you could go into users folders and actually look for him right over here and then double click on him and you know, unlock his account. Some people, what they do is they go into reset password. That's not the right way to do it. You don't reset his password. If he knows what the password is, have him try to log in first before you reset the password. So we're gonna double click on him. We're gonna go into account and you should see this account. Unlock account. Account is currently locked out of Active Directory domain controller. So you know he's locked out. So literally, you'll get like 1,000 phone calls about this every single day. Either they try connecting to VPN, they try connecting to Citrix, they forgot their password, they fat finger their password, they tried a bunch of different things and it locks their account. So they'll call you to unlock their account because of that. So literally all you gotta do is hit the little checkbox next to it, hit apply, hit OK, and hey, hi, Jimmy. Hey, yes, Kevin. Can you try logging in again? Let me know if it works. If otherwise, we'll change your password. Yes, Kevin. So then, you know, it should take effect right away, hopefully, depending how they're set up, and then have them log in again. So we're going to do welcome, capital W, 1, 2, 3, and it should work. There we go. You know, they're set up after, you know, they're good after that. Now, I'm going to show you another error message. Say, for example, the user's account was disabled by accident. Let's just see what happens when we disable the account. Let's just see what happens for the sake of this video. Let's just disable his account. So we're gonna right click on him and we're gonna disable his account. I'll just show you all the different error messages you will see in your job. So we're gonna do the same thing. He went, poor Jimmy. He's getting killed today. Like he goes on break. He forgot his password. He's locked out. Now he goes on break. He comes back. He tries to log in, and now he can't log in for some reason. What is going on today? Your account has been disabled. Please see your system administrator. So if that happens, obviously you enable the account. If that happens, you want to make sure that person is maybe that person got laid off, maybe that person got fired, maybe that person they're a consultant, maybe their account was disabled for that reason. Maybe they have to enable the account again. Hey Kevin, I'm a consultant. I started today. Well, actually, I worked about 4 months ago, and now I'm back with the company again. We're still working as a consultant. I think my account was disabled. Can you enable my account for me? I'm like, yeah. Let me find out what HR. And you call HR. Jimmy's account is disabled. Can I enable his account again? And can I have him log in again? Is it okay if I log him in again with his old account? And I think he remembers his old password. Can we have him log in again? Is that okay with you? You get the approval from HR or your manager, and then you enable the account. So literally, all you do is right click on it, enable account. Account has been enabled. You hit OK. Hi, Jimmy. Yes, Kevin. Can you try logging in again? Do you remember your password from 4 months ago? Yes, I do, Kevin. All right. W, welcome. Obviously, you can reset the password if you need to. That's it. That's how you do it. I'll give you another example. Say, for example, the person's a consultant, is a software, because sometimes we have software developers that are consultants. And his password does work, but it has expired. So sometimes their account expires. So what we're going to do is we're going to put him on May 25th, 2020. Yesterday, we're gonna hit apply. We're gonna hit OK. And poor Jimmy, he's a consultant. He was a consultant. He left. He left for 3 months because he had to take care of a personal issue. He came back and his account has expired, but he doesn't know that. So this is the error message that he will get when he tries to log in. I'll show you. So Jimmy is like, I know my password is, so I'm going to try to log in. The user account has expired. Now you have a different error message. The user account has expired. And then he calls you back. Hey, Kevin, yeah, my account says the user account has expired. Can you check my account for me? Yeah, sure, I'll check your account. And then, you go into Active Directory, users and computers. You could search his name by right-clicking on it. You can do J Chen. And right-click on it. You hit Properties. You hit Account. And you see that it's expired. We'll set it to never. Obviously, you get approval for that. And you get approved by your manager, HR, whoever. And like, Jim, do you remember your password? Yeah. Can you log in for me again? Yeah, sure. I'll log in for you. Okay. So his password is capital W, welcome 1, 2, 3. There we go. So that's how you would resolve that issue. Now, going further into detail, like I'm gonna extend his account only for 3 months, if that makes sense. So we're gonna click on it, double click on him, hit account. It expires in August. So we're gonna go into 2020 and it expires in August 1st. Apply, okay. So now sometimes you have these issues where the user is locked out or the user's password expires, their account's expiring. Maybe you want to find out what groups they're part of and all this good stuff. So how do you do that? How do you do that on a server? How do you do that on your computer? So if you're a full admin on your computer, you could do it. If you're a new guy in IT and tech and IT support, help desk, desktop support, you want to know how to do these commands. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So basically, if you have access to the server or you have RSAT tools on your computer, you could do it as well. You don't even have to have RSAT tools on your computer. You could literally open up CMD, run as admin, and run these commands. So you go into the start menu, you type CMD, you type net user, and his name is J Chan /domain. So now here, if you look at it carefully, it says account is active. Account expires 8/2/2020. at 12 a.m. Password last set 5/26 today. Password expires 7/7. Password changeable 5/27. And going further into detail, we know he has a home directory. So look, the home directory is literally right there. And we know he has certain groups he's part of. There we go. Now, say for example, someone has access to a shared drive folder, and you're working with 3 people in the same office. And only one person has access to that shared drive folder, but the 2 other people are requesting access to that shared drive folder as well, and they don't have access to it. And you want to know what the folder path directory is, because sometimes when you work in these departments, in these IT departments, or work with these people and users or clients, they'll have like the Z drive, the H drive, the A drive, the G drive, the T drive, whatever, right? You want to find out what they're mapped to. And you cannot find out at all what they're mapped to. So you want to find that out. How do you do that? So basically, you go on Jimmy's computer. There's other 2 new hires like Aaron Wells and somebody else, and you want to find out what he has mapped to that they might need as well, if that makes sense. So you're like, Jimmy, can I get on your computer? Yes, Kevin. Can I run CMD as admin? I'm gonna run a CMD as admin. Can I get on your computer real quick? Is that okay with you? Yeah, sure. They need access, and he's like the head of the software team. They need access to the same shared drive as I have access to. So how do you find that out? Literally, you go on Jimmy's computer. Obviously, you get permission. You go on his computer, go to the start menu, and you type CMD, and literally you type net space use, and it tells you right there. So he'll have like the H drive, Z drive, L drive, whatever, and it'll tell you how it's mapped. And then when you find out how it's mapped, you could copy and mirror that to the other users in the office, if that makes sense. And that's it. That's pretty much it. This is everything in a nutshell that you should be worried about if you're doing entry-level IT support or help desk. I hope this video helps you out. I know it's a really long video, but this is gonna hopefully this builds you up as an IT professional. The thing I want to go over is I want to create an account on Active Directory. Second thing I want to do, I want to connect that account to Exchange. Third thing I want to do is I want to go over distribution groups. And I want to go over all the tabs here, and I just want to go over everything. So let's go into our Active Directory. Obviously, you can't do this unless you have this configured and set up, when I have it set up already. So I'm going to create an account, right? So every company has their own domain or account. So usually you will right click on it and you hit new. Obviously, depending on the environment, you basically have to move the user account to a certain profile or a certain OU and stuff like that. So this is going to be called Tom, and I'm going to call it Wells. It's going to be T Wells because I go by the first letter of the name and their last name. That's how we do it in our job, and that's how we do it in a couple other jobs. I have it done that way. We're going to put for password, we're going to put password capital P 123. Password capital P 123, and then I'm gonna do change security control, user password never expires, account's disabled. I'm gonna hit next. All right, now the account is created. I want to enable advanced features just so I can see everything. I'm gonna move them over to users. I'm gonna hit yes. So you're gonna go into your mail exchange. This is if you're working in an office. You go to the user mailbox. So you have the option here of basically, let me just put the time zone because it needs to know what time zone I'm from, obviously. Eastern time, save. All right, I'm gonna open it again. So obviously, if you go to user mailbox, you have the two options. Either you could manually create the mailbox by starting fresh with new user, or you could go into your existing mailbox and then look for the person. So for this one, I'm gonna do Tom T Wells or T Well. I'm gonna hit browse. You might not even have to create the alias because it's already there. So you're just gonna hit browse. It should show up by default, and then you hit more options, and then you have your mailboxes right here. Obviously, like I gone over this before in other videos. Depending on where you are, if you're gonna pick a mailbox, it has to be the one that's located in your local area. So like if Tom is in New York, you will click on a mailbox that's from New York. You won't put him in New Jersey. You won't put him in Zimbabwe. You won't put him in London because it makes the mail exchange, or it makes this email account very slow. So you won't do that. You'll connect to New York, if that makes sense, because he's from New York. So then you hit OK. And then you hit a policy. If you have a policy created, you hit save. So it should work. So now that I created this, stuff that you need to care about on Exchange are these things. So you need to care about voice, phone voice and features, depending on your environment. If you have Cisco Unify enabled, if you have Cisco Call Manager on your end, on your company, basically you click here, the mailbox exchange, and then this is where you would set up a PIN for their voicemail or their phone. So when they go into their Cisco phone, they actually able to actually set up their PIN or their voicemail on their phone. So that's the reason why this is here, this phone voicemail and feature. Another thing you need to care about is mobile devices. So every time someone adds an email for the first time on a company email, so like if I were to add Kevtech local on my phone or any device, I guess, and a company issue phone, you gotta add your email. Once you add your email, you will go into view details. You will see the device here. You can either allow it, you can either block it, or you could wipe the data on it. Because once it's added here, you could wipe the data or you could delete it. And you have your default mobile device policy. So you have different kinds of policies that you could create on Exchange. If you have like MDM, mobile device management, or if you have mobile iron and you use MOS 360, you use any of these other applications. So that's something you need to be familiar with. Email connectivity. If you want to disable Outlook on web, which is Webmail, which is right here. This is actually Webmail right here. I want to go over that afterwards. And then you have the option to move it to another mailbox. So maybe you have two servers, one in New York and one in New Jersey, and you want to connect them to the New Jersey one because you're testing like disaster recovery, penetration tests, or you're basically shutting off everything in New York and then trying to replicate it in New Jersey. So you will move them over to New Jersey, or maybe there. I'll give you another example, which maybe this will happen to you. Maybe you have a user or a client or a person that used to live in London and now lives in New York, and now you have to move their mailbox over to New York because they were in London. So you have to move them from server A to server B, and then make sure everything replicates over to New York. And that's another example. So I definitely have to go over that because obviously you might see that in your job. So we're gonna go into more details. Open this up. Just like little things we're gonna go over, like this: first name, last name. Say for example, someone is leaving the firm, leaving the company. You want to go into hide from address list. That is very important. This is very important because, if they leave the company, once you disable their account, they might still show up on the address book for Outlook, and you don't want them to show up anymore. Or HR does not want them to show up because they already left the firm. Why would you want them in the address book? It doesn't make any sense. So you do hide from address book, and then you hit save changes, and then that's it. That's all you gotta do. And then that's it. And then we have your mailbox usage, more options. So here you set up the daily quote of how much they should have on their mailbox. Like there's a certain quote of mailbox data you want them to obtain or have on their mailbox. You can set it up right here. Here you put in their contact information, their zip code, where they work, country, etc., etc. Here you can put their title. So then when you look for them in the address book, their title will show up, what company they're from, what department they're from. And then here you put their manager. So if you have a manager they report to, you can add it here. Here is your email addresses. An important thing that you should note about this. Sometimes you have, this is level 1 support again. So sometimes you have people that work in the company that they don't like the way their name is showing up on the address book, on the email. And they're like, oh, my name is T Wells. I don't want that. I don't want them to see my name as T Wells. I don't want my reply email address to show up as T Wells. Why don't we just put the full name, tom.wells@kevtechlocal.com or whatever, at kevtech.local or whatever, company you have or whatever company you're working for. They want you to change the name of it. So you can do that here. So you hit add. And here you could add a new one. So if you could do like you do tom.wells, show you what I'm talking about. So tom.wells at kevtech.local, right? See if it lets me do it. Yep, and then that's it. So you could add another alias if you like. It even tells you right here, you could add and change the delete email address associated with the user. The user's primary email address is displayed in bold. So if you want to change this one as the main one, it actually gives you the option to do that. So you have to uncheck this. Check that. You have to uncheck that. Let's see. Show you right now. There we go. So you uncheck this in order for you to set up the reply email address. Is this one? So I want to make this the reply email address. You hit OK, and then you hit save, and it should work. So now it just updated it. So once it updates, it takes it could take 24 hours. It could take 2 days. I don't know how. It depends where your company is and where the server is located. It could take maybe 10 to 12 hours. It could take 3 days. It could take 3 hours. It could be right away that it works right away. Every company is different. But then the email address, when they show up, when you look for someone's name, username, and password on the address book and on Outlook, that email address will show up instead. So that's basically what that is. So that's how you would change someone's email address. So like they're like, oh, I want my email address to be, I don't know, first name, letter name, first name, last name. You change it there. So like here you would change it. So like I said, I'm going to go over it again. You hit the edit button. You could change it to something else. If you want to add more addresses, you could do that here. And you can make that the reply email address. And then basically is a shortcut for their email address. Basically, they want that to be the main email address that they want to use if people reply to them or email them and stuff like that. And you can keep adding multiple ones here. You can add as many as you want, basically. So we got our mailboxes. So you have your share policy, role policy. By default, it will be default role. We went over all this already. You don't really care about this. The only thing you should care about is mail flow options. Mail flow options. Basically, you could enable mail forwarding here. So if you want that email to be forwarded, like for example, I'll give you another example. Level 1 support. Say for example, they're an important, like an SMD. They're a director. They're a manager. They're an owner of the company, or they recently dropped from the company. They're CEO that recently dropped from the company, and they want their email address to get forwarded to something else. You could do that. So if you wanted it to get forwarded to somewhere else, you could do that. You could set a maximum recipients as well, like number of recipients allowed to CC BCC on this email address sent by this user. So you could do that. You can even deliver messages to both forward address and mailbox. So basically what that means is if you pick another mailbox here that it forwards over to, basically it creates a copy of it and gives it to your mailbox as well, the current mailbox you have. So it sends it to both mailboxes, if that makes sense. So this is something you might want to look into, or you care about. So that's why I'm going over it. That's something you should know for level 1 support, because someone might ask you like, oh, I don't use this email address or this mailbox anymore, or I want my emails to forward to a specific mailbox for HR, or I want this certain mailbox to forward to this account. So you could do that with that feature. Another thing you need to care about is distribution groups. Here it will show you which groups they're added to. You have your mail tip, and you have your mailbox delegation. So if you want someone to, it even tells you what it means. So if you want someone to send as permission allowed delegate to send email from this mailbox, the message will appear saying that this is sent from this user's mailbox. If you want them to send on behalf of you, and basically that message will not pop up. It'll be as if you're the actual owner of the mailbox. You put them on the send on behalf instead of send as, if that makes sense. So if you want someone to send on behalf of you, you put them here, so then they can send on behalf of you, and then the mailbox or the email will come in as if it was you that was sending it instead of them, if that makes sense. This you need to care about full access is because full access allows you to dedicate to open this mailbox, but also behave as an email or mailbox user. So that basically means that if I were to hit administrator, add him here, and then hit save, I would be the owner of the mailbox. So then when you open up Outlook, the mailbox of the user will show up on the left-hand side of my email or my Outlook client. And then I have access to their mailbox, to the person that I just added. So like I have full admin rights to their mailbox. That doesn't necessarily mean I just have access to the mailbox. That means I have access to their mailbox, their calendar, their contacts, everything. Basically everything of the person of their Outlook mailbox. Basically everything of Outlook. Basically, and then the only reason you would do this or have this feature enabled for somebody is if you want to have multiple mailboxes. If you work for a publishing company, or you work for HR, or you work for you work as a manager or senior managing director, and then you just recently laid off someone and you want to see what they have in their mailbox. That's the only time you will give somebody full access. Another time you will give somebody full access is if you're an IT support level 1 guy, and someone needs access to a calendar, or someone needs access to a certain contact list or a certain contact group or something of that nature. Basically, you add a mailbox on their behalf. You right click on the mailbox, and then you hit properties, and then you give people access to like editor, reviewer, publisher rights, etc., etc. If that makes sense. That's the only time you would do this. So those are the only scenarios I would see that happening. I mean, it could be some other stuff as well. I mean, it's entirely, depends on your environment, but that's the stuff that will happen to you. Here, you could do a link mailbox. It even tells you what that is. Mails with an external account if you want to add an external account. And then here, we'll go over a user mailbox. If you just want to create a regular user mailbox, you could create one here. That's entirely up to you. So if you just want to, if say for example, you have someone that works for a firm and they just want a mailbox only. They don't want an Active Directory account. They don't want an AD account. They just want a mailbox, and they want to have access to that mailbox. You will do that here. So you will create the mailbox here, and then hit save, and then you go into full mailbox rights again. Like I said, mailbox delegation, and then you add them to the mailbox. So then they'll have access to the mailbox, but you don't have to create an Active Directory account because they just want a mailbox. So that, I don't know if that makes sense for you guys, but that's basically what this is. All right, so we're gonna jump into groups. Now I went over a mailbox. So I'm trying to go over one by one. So groups is a distribution group. So you could create a security group, a dynamic distribution group. It even tells you what it is. Like it's a calculates every time a message is sent to the group. This calculates based on rules you define when you create the group. Specify the recipients of the member of this group, recipient types, users with mailboxes, users with mail users, from external email addresses. So basically you create a rule here, you add a rule. That's entirely up to you. You could create a custom rule and stuff like that. So this is basically what that is. This is not really used, honestly, a lot. Like, you should care more about security groups. This is a mail-enabled security group that could access and distribute messages and assign access permissions to Active Directory. You should care about security groups, and then you should care about distribution groups. So we're going to create one right now. So I'm going to call it IT support, right? And then we're going to call it IT support again. And then I want to put it somewhere. I'm going to put it in Microsoft Exchange groups right here. Just going to call it IT. And then we're going to, here you could create the owners. So if you want to make someone an owner of the distribution group, you could do that here, or you could remove them. And we're going to add members. So we're going to add our buddy Tom Wells right here. Add him. Okay. And then when you create these distribution groups, you want to set it as closed, because then other people could start adding themselves. You don't want that. So if you create a distribution group for someone in your office, your firm, your company, you want to create it as a closed group, because if it's open, anyone could join. If it's open, anyone could leave the group as well. You don't want that. So you just hit save, and then that's it. And then you have your distribution group. The only thing you should care about this is if you want to hide it from the address book, because they show up in the address book. Once you create the distribution group, it takes maybe 3 to 4 hours for it to replicate across the whole system, or it could take a whole day. It depends where you're located. Again, I'm going over location because that's very important. You might create this distribution group for somebody in Europe, and it might take them like a day or two for it to show up for them in their system. You don't know. If you create a distribution group and say, for example, that they no longer need it, usually I don't recommend deleting distribution groups unless you have a probable cause for deleting it. I just hide it from the address book. Just like mailboxes, you can hide distribution groups to the address book. So then you hide it. You have your owners here. If you want to add another owner to it, you could do that. Membership approval. Like I said, leave everything closed. Delivery management. This is very important, because if you have a distribution group and you get a bunch of like error codes, or you get error codes, or you get like a bounce back from someone that sent an email from a Gmail account to this account and it doesn't work, it's because you have to enable send inside and outside my organization. And that allows this email or this distribution group to receive emails from a Gmail account. So make sure this is checkmarked. If it's not checkmarked, it's not going to work if someone emails you from a Gmail account or an external account, if that makes sense. So if it's an internal account, which is inside the firm, it'll work fine. External, it will not work. You have to allow that first and then hit save, and you're good after that. Obviously, you might need to get approval for that. So you might talk to your compliance, you might talk to HR, you might talk to your manager. Once they approve it, you hit that little check mark and you hit save. You have your message approval. Messages sent to this group can be approved by the moderator. So this is messages that come in. They have to be approved before they go in the actual, before they get sent to everyone in the distribution group. That's basically what that is. Email options. Like I went over mailboxes. You could create another email address, an alias if you like. A shortcut or another email address. You could do that here. Part of that as well, you uncheck this again, and basically you can make the reply email address to whatever you want. That's basically what that is. And then you have your mail tip. This is display when sending emails to this group. You could create a mail tip to display when people send an email to this group. Mailtet could be a maximum of 175 characters. And you have your group delegation. You can send as again and send on behalf. It tells you what it is. Obviously, you put someone send on behalf. If you wanted to send on behalf of the group, you want to do that one. You want to do send as if you want to see who sent it from what group and stuff like that, and you do send as permission. And that's basically it for mailbox and groups. I want to go over resources now. So tells you what it is. Resources is a room mailbox. So if you want to create a room mailbox assigned to a physical location, you could do that. A room mailbox will be used on calendars. So if you want to book a room or a calendar, you could do that here. So you create a room, like I call this like the 11th floor, for example, 11th floor, New York. And then I'm going to do a 11F, right? And we're going to put it in here. Location, New York. I'm going to leave the capacity off. Obviously, you're going to pick the same mailbox. It's located in New York. You can put a policy if you like. And then you hit save. It should work. So basically, now you created a room. This is why we creating rooms. Rooms are created if you have an office that has multiple conference rooms, and you want to book that room. Basically, what you do is you have an 11th floor room. For example, you have an 11th floor room in your job in your company, and they have to invite that room. Once they invite the room will auto accept it. And if it's auto accepting the room, then that means that room is free and you could use that room. So this is the reason why you create these rooms, is because it allows you to basically be more organized in your firm and your company, and basically it gives you the ability to control whether or not you're able to use that room or not, if that makes sense. So this is the reason why you would do this. So if you have resources and you want to create rooms for every room that you have or every floor you have in your job, I would recommend doing this. This will make you really more organized, and this basically will help you in a way that no one just randomly just shows up to that room when you're having a conference call and you're having a meeting, or you're having a laptop display, or you're having a company that's from like an example like Deloitte or KPMG, and these big companies just show up, and then you can't just, you just randomly show up to the room, and it's the room's already booked. You didn't check the calendar and it's already booked. This is basically what that's for. So this is the reason why I create rooms. You don't worry more about equipment mailboxes. This is like if someone's bringing a laptop and stuff like that, you could do that here as well. So like if you want to create a one that, if you know someone's bringing a laptop and they're from like a big company, you would do that here as well. So like you could create an alias for that, and you could create one called laptop, and you just put technology or something like that as the alias. And then you hit OK, and then you pick the same mailbox, you hit OK, and you hit save. So now if you don't want that to show up, you can hide it from the address book as well. You can put the department and company as well. You could set it that it automatically accepts it, or you could set it that only delegates could accept it. Certain delegates could accept it. So like only the person that could accept it would be Tom. Tom could be in charge of that. So this is what I would do. Like if I were an IT support guy and I have multiple offices and I have multiple rooms and I don't want anyone to just randomly show up in the room, I create laptop rooms, or I create regular rooms like this one, right? And basically add an assistant to it. So like you have a bunch of admins and assistants, put them in here, and then they're the only ones that are allowed to accept the room and accept the meeting. No one else is able to accept the meeting. That's the reason why I would do this. Allow repeat meetings, always accept, always decline. Put more information here. You could put, like before I went over, you could create a shortcut for this. So if you don't want it to be called 11F at Kevtech, you could change it to something else. You hit the edit button, change the name of it. You want to add a reply email address, another type of email address, add it here, and then make this the reply email address. Same thing, mailtet, mailbox delegation. You could do send as, or you could do send on behalf, or you could give someone full access to that room, or to see that calendar basically, and they have access to allow and decline things that go in and out basically. So this is the only reason. This is the only time you will create resources is whenever you need to do any of these things. And I definitely recommend this. I want you to implement this in your job. If you're level 1, level 2 support, definitely this is definitely something I recommend doing, because you don't want people randomly showing up to your room when you're having a meeting. You want the rooms to get booked by default in advance, so people just don't randomly show up. So this is like, I create one for the 11th floor, one for the 12th floor. You might have like 11th floor boardroom. You might have 11th floor conference room. You might have 11th floor, whatever the name you call it, you know. And you tell assistants, please book the room through an invite. Book the room through an invite, and that way I know that the room's, you know, being booked by someone from 1 o'clock to 2 p.m., from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And that's basically what this is. This is very important because this is part of 365. This is part of Exchange, and you should definitely know how this works. You should definitely implement this in your job if you're doing any type of support. So now you have your contacts, and your contacts is, if you want to create a mail contact, you could create a mail contact. And this was basically like a contact that, it's basically a contact that will show up for somebody. So like if I create like one, like my name, Kevin Polinario, right? We'll do Kevin, right? And then, you know, you guys know my Gmail account already, right? Why is this important? I'll show you right now why this is important. And then I'm gonna put okay, save. So if I want someone, you can hide this in the address book as well. So like I recommend hiding stuff in the address book. I don't recommend deleting anything, because you never know if someone is ever coming back to the firm, or if someone's ever coming back to that job. So I like to disable everything and just hide everything. That's basically how I do. I don't delete anything unless I am told by HR, my CTO, or by my director. Then I will delete it. Obviously I wouldn't delete it because, you know, I feel like it doesn't work that way. You have your contact information, organization, email, and then manager, you know, who to report to in general. So why is this created? What's the point of this? So this is a contact that you will create. So like if you create these contacts and you add email addresses to them, it goes to that email address. So like if I were to send an email to this contact list, it will email it to my Gmail account. That's basically what's the purpose of this. What's the point of this, basically. And you create a mail user account as well. So if you want, you could create a mail user account, and you could create a mail user account here and then add them here. So like if I were to create Kevin, the same thing, 63 gmail.com. We're gonna add it for default account, save. Well, actually, I can't do this one. I need to set up an SMTP, which I don't have for this. It's not gonna work. Yeah, it's gonna have to be Tom Wells. It's alright, I'll leave it alone. But basically, you will create this if you want to send an email to a contact account, and that's it. That's basically what this is. You can delete it here. You hit yes. You get a warning sign. If you ever delete any of these things, you get a warning sign. This is share as well. So share is a share mailbox. Allow a group of users to view and send emails from common mailboxes. So our common calendar. So if you have an HR department and they want emails to go to that share mailbox, and they want emails to go back and forth, and they want to send on behalf of that mailbox as well, this is the only time you will create a share mailbox. So this is what it is. And basically, like, if we create one called like technology, right? And you create IT, technology mailbox. See if it lets me do that. Yep. You created IT, and then I'm gonna go into organization unit, hit OK. Following users permission to view and send on behalf of the mailbox. We'll put Tom Wells on it again, hit OK. More options. Obviously, you gotta pick the right mailbox from New York, and then we're gonna do save. And then the same thing, you can hide it from the address book if you like. That's entirely up to you. You give someone full access to the mailbox. That's entirely up to you. You get the error message when the person has not logged in or used that mailbox. Contact information, organization, email address. You have your members, you have your distribution group, and that's it. So this is like I would recommend doing this is if you have an HR department and they need to share a mailbox with each other and they want to send on behalf of the mailbox, then I would do a share mailbox. That's basically what this is for. HR, compliance, I don't know, like maybe a hedge fund, who knows? That's basically what that is. You have your migration. So this is your migration. If you want to move someone to a different database or a different mailbox, you do it here. So if you want to move, somebody, you could do that here. New local mailbox move. And then when you move someone to their mailbox, you could actually import their contact users and accounts here as well. So like say, for example, you have someone that just started a new job and you want to import their contacts from their old job, you could put the CSV file here and import all their contacts into that new mailbox, into that new job. They'll have all their contacts after this. This is where you would do that. Things you should worry about is permissions as well. You have your admin roles and permissions. I am a full admin, so like it even tells you what each one does. So like if you want someone to have Exchange and you want them to have certain access to certain stuff on this, you could do that here. If you hit the edit button, it actually tells you what they have access to. Like you have your roles right here. Like you want to give them access to everything, you could do that. You want to put certain members here to be part of it, you could do that here. So like in your job, obviously you probably will have a unique group here that's associated with level 1 support or help desk like this one, and they'll only have access to certain tabs, if that makes sense. You have your user roles as well. If you want to add another role here, you could do that. And you could customize it. You have your Outlook web app appliances here as well. Features. So this is the Webmail. This is the Webmail, which we're gonna go over in 2 seconds. Webmail is right here, and you could put what people have access to, like contacts, Exchange. They have the ability to change their password when they log into Webmail. They have access to change their themes if they like. They have access to manage their calendars, their tasks. They have access to direct file access, which basically means they're able to open and download attachments. If you want to remove that, you can remove that here. You have your offline access as well. You have your compliance management. You want to do auditing for mailboxes, you could do that here. Who should care about this would be HR. So you would do this for HR. I'm not going to go over any of these other tabs. There's organization as well. Organization is not enabled, don't worry about that. And there's address list, and these are all the things that we have been working on, address list, all contacts. It even tells you what it does. Like it's created by the Exchange. Like this was created already. I don't gotta do anything about this. Then there's protection for malware that comes in. Then there's mail flow as well. Maybe you block and allow certain things, delivery reports. Is it sent from or a specific person? You can now allow them to search the messages from certain keywords. You like to search for certain emails. That's what this is for. This is similar to Proofpoint, similar to Mimecast. Is basically what this is. You could accept domains. You have your email address policies as well. I'm not gonna go over this in depth. You have your mobile as well. So if you have certain devices you want to quarantine, you could do that here. You could allow and block certain devices here from certain people. You could do that here. You have your public folders. Don't worry about that. You have your unified messaging. If you have voicemail enabled, you could do that here. You could edit it in depth here. Your voicemail. You could dial. You could change the plan of it. And secure, audio language. Change the region. Extension length, the internal number of digits and telephone numbers assigned to the user. That's what this is for. You have your servers. I only have one server, and then these are all the inbuilt websites that you could go into, like Webmail. This is the server that we've been adding stuff to. This is the New York server. We have your database server here. This is the New York server. You have your database availability groups, virtual directories, which is like I just said, all the mailboxes that, all the things that you know, all the different websites you go into. You can go onto OWA and stuff like that, certificates, and then hybrid. If you want to do like a hybrid setup, allows you to connect and manage both your premises and Exchange Online organization. You can do that here. And that's basically it. That's everything in a nutshell here. I only went over the stuff that you should care about. You don't have to care about all these things. So if you're a server admin, then yeah, you would have to care about the other stuff. But I went over all the tabs here, and that's what I care about, because that's what you should know. Now I'm going to go over Webmail real quick. So Webmail, obviously they changed it up a little bit. You have your mail on the left-hand side, emails that come in and out. Stuff you should care about for a user will be calendar. If they want to add calendars, you could create calendars here. Stuff they should care about is people. If they want to add contacts here, they can add contacts. Stuff that they should care about is here. If you hit change, you could change the photograph of your picture. If you have a Skype server, the picture will update here, and you could change it here, and then they could update their Skype picture, their profile picture. Stuff you should care about as well would be going into options, going into my account. Here you could change your password. So if you go into my account, you could change your Active Directory password. So if you want to change your password for your computer, you could change it here, or you could do Control-Alt-Delete on your computer, and you could change it that way as well. You have your theme. These are distribution groups that you're probably part of or belong into. You have your keyboard shortcuts. You have your add-ins. Maybe you have some add-ins here. Other stuff you should care about, I'm gonna go over right now, will be, let's see, went over this. Mobile phone is here. Change your password. You don't have to care about this. If you want to set up like if you want to set up automatic process, you could do that here. Like an automatic reply. Like if you're leaving if you're out of office and you want to set up your out of office reply, you could do it here. So if you want to set up your out of office reply, you could do that here. So you don't have to necessarily have your computer or laptop. You could just go into Webmail, and then you can set up your out of office here from your mobile phone or from like on a laptop and go into Google Chrome and stuff like that. You have your undo, you have inbox rules. So if you have any rules you need to create, you could create them here. Sometimes you have an issue where Outlook doesn't open. It's because you have a rule box that's corrupted. You might want to go in here and uncheck all your inbox rules, and then try to open Outlook again, and then that will fix that problem. I don't know if you guys ever had that issue, but that's a Microsoft issue. You have your junk email report, mark as read, messages, read. Block and allow. If you want to block and allow certain users from sending you emails, you can do that here. You have your POP, your IMAP, storage. This is your layout if you want to change the way your layout is. And then you have your calendars. Here you can personalize your calendar appearance, the date and time to show, invitations, reminders, and birthdays. And then if you want to go back, hit the little back button, and that's it. That is pretty much everything. Oh, also, I forgot, you could also open up the mailbox. So, like, if you have access to another mailbox and you want to see that mailbox or log into that mailbox, you can do that here. So, you just hit open another mailbox. So, if you have an access to, like, an HR mailbox or a compliance mailbox or some kind of other mailbox, you could access it there by going to open another mailbox. You have your refresh, add-ins. I went over options already. And then that's it. That is pretty much everything. So that's pretty much OWA, and that's pretty much Microsoft Exchange in a nutshell. And that's it. That's pretty much it. That's all that's all I'm going to show you for now. This is all level 1 support. Obviously, you want to make sure you get approval. So you always want to make sure you get approval. Don't just add someone to a calendar. Don't just give someone access to a mailbox. Don't just give someone access to contacts. You want to ask for approval. Why do I say that? I say that because when you give someone access to a calendar, you're going to be able to see everything. Maybe they have a calendar meeting in there that talks about you. You don't know. So you want to make sure you have, approval for it. So the easiest way to grant someone calendar permissions, I'm going to show you how to do that, is if you right click on your calendar and you hit properties and you hit permissions. Drink coffee. don't mind me. So here you have the add button. So basically you have the add button. So if you want to add, like, for example, Jason Smith, you can. And then you have the little drop down. So you can make the free busy contributor, review, and if you, as you notice, that each one does something unique or different. So typically if it's like an admin or admin administrator, like you're working with an admin and she needs access to do everything, I typically like doing editor rights. So I do editor rights. You can create subfolders, but you could do everything else. That's typically what I do. And then you hit apply. You hit OK. That's it. And that's how you grant someone access. So now if you want that Jason guy or whatever to actually see that calendar, he will go into open share calendar, and then search for the name of the person, whatever it is, whatever Kevin, whatever it is, and then hit OK after that. So that's the way you would do it. Now, if you want someone to actually, like, say for example, as an admin, and they have like calendar permissions, and you want them to have delegation access. So basically, they could delegate as a person. They could do delegation permissions, like basically behave as the user or as that person. You have to go into delegation. So delegation will be right over here. So you will go into accounts and settings. You go into delegation access. Same guy, Jason. You hit OK, and then when you do OK, it gives you all these options right here, right? So I made him an editor already. So you want to do dedicate receives copies of meetings. You give him access to the inbox if you want. Contacts, notes. Automatically send a message dedicate to summarize their permissions. I'm going to do that. Dedicate can see my private items. That's entirely up to you. And then you hit OK. And you hit OK again. So if you see that, it says please send a copy of the meeting request in response to me recommended. And you have all these other options. So there's my delegates only and delegates and me. So obviously you're going to have a little weird, it's going to take a while because it's a little slow. But typically, that's how you would do it. So then you go into delegation again, right? And if you want to modify the permissions, you can modify. So you just hit the little permissions tab. You hit properties. It tells you about the person that has access to your stuff. And that's how you would do it. So there's two ways to do it. Number one, the first way to do it is if you go into someone's computer. So if you go into the office of the person, you right click on it and then you hit permissions or properties on, like what it just shows you, right, on calendar. You right click and hit properties and give them access. That's way number one. Way number two is if you don't want to bother the user at all, you basically add the mailbox to your computer. So basically, before I even get into that, I'm going to show you contacts real quick and then we'll talk about that. So you go into contacts, permissions. Same thing, he's already added there. You can see he's already added there. So now he has access to his contacts and calendar, and he should be all set. And then that's it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. But I'm gonna go more in depth because I need to show you some other things. So I'm gonna close out Outlook for a second. Now, if you don't want to, like, because we have clients, we have users, we have people that work in the office, and sometimes they have a lot of meetings, and sometimes they just don't have time for you to be doing this. You know what I mean? Like they have better things to do. They have a lot of meetings, so you might want to do it on their behalf, right? So I recommend adding their mailbox to your computer, if that makes sense. So if you add the mailbox to your computer, you could basically take control of their whole mailbox, take control of everything that the person has, and you should be good to go after that. So that's like the easiest way to do it. So hopefully that makes sense. So basically, like, they're like, Kevin, I need you to grant access to this guy. And the other guy's busy. He's like, I don't have time for you to go to my computer and right click and go to properties. Can you do it for me? Like, yeah, I'll do it for you. So then you go into here, like you go into administrator, you go into mailbox, and then what you do is you add yourself here as a delegate. You not delegate, sorry. You add yourself here to get full access rights, and then you just go on. You just go to the calendars. right click on the calendar, give them access, right click on the contacts, give them access, and then after that you're good to go, and then you just remove yourself from the mailbox, and that's it. That's the easiest way to do it. That's the simplest way to do it. And that's about it. That's pretty much it for Outlook. So if you want to give someone calendar permissions, like I said, ask for approval, and that's where you put them in delegation access, and then that's about it. So if you have an admin or someone that needs access to certain things, you could do it that way. You go into the computer, or you could get the mailbox and add it on your own, basically, and then give them access. So that's about in depth for level one, just level one. There's no level 2 or any of that. This is for desktop support, IT support, tech support. People that are new in IT that are helping you use it with VPN issues. All right. So you need to understand that when you log in and you connect to whether it's Citrix, whether it's your mail app, or it's Cisco AnyConnect, the VPN, you always gotta have some sort of authentication. So you have to log in with your username and password, but then there's some sort of authentication. So what do I mean by that? There's an authentication so basically you have to allow it on your device. So you'll have this application which is called the mobile or RSA or Google Authenticator, and it might give you a code, it might give you a temporary bypass code, you might get a push, you might get a notification, you might get a call me, like it's like in this picture right here. So you have to keep in mind that part of working with Cisco AnyConnect, because we're talking about Cisco AnyConnect today, because the majority of the world uses it. You have to have two-factor authentication allowed on that person's mobile phone. So say for example his name is Jeff Smith or whatever, he has to have dual on his phone, otherwise VPN will not work. You click connect, and it just doesn't do anything. It's not going to work. So you have to have them have dual mobile or whatever whatever your company is using. Every company is different. I'm not going to tell you that the company you're going to work for, they're going to have dual. Maybe another company might have RSA. Maybe one might have Google Authenticator. Maybe one might have something else. So the reason I'm going over this is because you have to know this. You have to understand how VPN works, and you have to know about authentication. So, and that's part of a job requirement as an IT guy. So that's why I'm going over as an IT girl. So I'm going over this. So there is a send me a push, call me, enter a passcode, and then once you do that, you're able to connect to VPN. So that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna show you step by step everything that usually goes on when you're doing these things. All right. So common issues that you will deal with when it comes to dealing with VPN issues. So you have an issue where either their account is locked out. So you might have to go into Active Directory and unlock their account. Their password is expired. So I'm going to show you everything I'm talking about right now. I'm going to connect into my virtual machine, right? And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So let's just say, for example, it's just hypothetical. Obviously, it's not, it's not like a real person, but Aaron Wells, right? Maybe his account is locked out. You don't know. So you might have to go into Active Directory. So you might, I have a shortcut here. So if you want to get into it, you might have to go into Server Manager, and then you might have to go into Tools, and you might have to go into Active Directory, Users and Computers. And then when you click on that, it's my VM's a little slow. Pardon me about that. Just give it a second. When you click on that, it should pop up. So yeah, it's freezing for me. There we go. Oh, it's because it needed updates. All right, that's fine. When you click on that, I'm gonna close out of that. When you click on it, it should open up, and then it's not going to be on. Obviously, it's not going to be on users. It's going to be on Kevtech.local, whatever your domain name is, whatever. I'm not gonna, it could be msp.com, whatever. Obviously, you could right click on it and search for the user and just put their name here. So like I have Aaron Wells, he's right there. Or you could go to the users folder. Depending how your environment is set up, they will have multiple folders and different OUs and stuff like that. I don't want to go in depth in that. I just want to show you what goes on with Cisco AnyConnect or Cisco VPN. So then you search for the user and you double click on them and then unlock account. That's it. That's all you gotta do. You don't gotta do anything else, nothing fancy. And like, can you please try to connect again to VPN? Sure, and then they hit connect, and then they put their password in, and then they get a notification on their phone, and then after they get a notification on their phone, then they allow it and they're able to connect to VPN. So that's problem number one to solve that problem. Problem number one, password is expired. You want to check that as well. So how do you check that? You go into Active Directory again. Obviously, when you do all this, you want to find out what their username is, what's their first name, what's their last name, the the easiest way to make sure that the user is calling you, and it's the actual user themselves, and I'm going to tell you how to do this, is if you go into your dual mobile account. So everyone that has IT support, help desk, or desktop support, they have a dual mobile account. You search for the user here, right? So like my name is California. You search for the user here, and they should have their first name, their last name, their email address, and if you scroll all the way down, they should have their phone number down there. So I'm not gonna show you my number, obviously, but yeah, you know that's them because it's their phone number showing up right there. So they'll have their first name, their company email address, and their phone number, and then when they're calling you from the phone, you're like, oh, they're calling me from the phone, or you could ask them like, what's your phone number and what's your email address, and then when they tell you, they're like, okay, this is the real Aaron Wells. This isn't a fake Aaron Wells trying to get into the system. You want to make sure you do all that before you start changing passwords or unlocking accounts or anything. So just letting you know that's part of IT. That's part of IT support, help desk. It's confirming who the user is, especially when you're working from home now. You want to make sure that that person that you're working with or you're dealing with, it's the actual person. It's not some random guy trying to get into the system, okay? So letting you know, be careful with that. Just make sure you confirm who the user is first before you start unlocking accounts. All right, so now that you confirm that it's him, okay, what's your username? Your name is Aaron Wells. Yeah, Aaron Wells, A Wells. Okay, let me see. And then you go into CMD, you type net space user, and you type Aaron Wells, right? Space / domain. So now their password expires. Actually, it expires this month. Just pretend that they're expired already, right? So I'm sorry. So what's going on is your account is expired. So this is the reason why you cannot log in. So this is the reason why you're having issues with your login. So we have to reset your password. I'm gonna help you reset your password, and then you basically reset your password. So you right click here, reset password. You put whatever you want. Don't put user must change on next login, because I notice that causes a lot of problems when people are connecting to VPN. Don't do that. Just uncheck that. Change the password for them. And then when you do that, while connected to VPN, do Control-Delete and change password and help them do it that way, if that makes sense. So you change the password, and then when you do it, can you please do me a favor? You're on VPN now. You do Control-Delete and then change your password. And then, you put the old password and then the one that you gave them, make a new one, and hit sign in and connect. And then make sure they're on VPN, and it should take the new password. Then when it takes the new password, you know that it's working, and you want to test it out. So you want them to, I know it's an insanity check, but just to make sure that they're not having issues, you want to make sure that they disconnect from VPN. They reconnect back to VPN. They get the dual mobile authentication on their phone, like whatever phone number they have. And after that, make sure that their password is working, the new one is working, and they can connect and everything, and you can leave them alone. All right, you're good to go. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, I'm okay for now. All right, thank you. Have a great day. So those are the kinds of issues you're going to have. Another issue you're going to have is account is locked out of Dual, RSAT, or Google Authenticator. So, like I told you before, you have to have the authentication. It has to be there, because if it's not there, they can't log into VPN. It's for security reasons. All these companies have two-factor authentication because we have to make sure that it's them. It's not some random guy trying to get into the VPN. So for that, you go into the dual mobile console. Here it will say locked. You basically unlock the account. Here there'll be a locked screenshot, which I could show you if you want me to show you. Actually, let me just show you. Dual mobile locked screenshot. So you could see what it looks like. If I could find it. If I could find something here, maybe not. Oh, here we go. Found one. There we go. So this one, dual mobile locked out. Show you. This one. See where it says active bypass? And what happens is, trying to get you a screenshot of it because I can't find one. Oh, here we go. Dual mobile locked out. So the thing is that they get locked out. and it's going to say something like that. So locked out for 90 minutes, locked out for 10 minutes, locked out for 40 minutes, and you have to click on active on my whatever you have it set up on mine. You hit active, and then you hit save. There's a button called save down there. So you hit save, and then have them try logging in again, and it should work. It should work after that. So those are some weird issues you're going to encounter, but that's basically what it is. And I'm being honest with you, you're going to encounter that. Wi-Fi needs to work for VPN to work. Obviously, this is a common sense one. If they don't have Wi-Fi, VPN is not going to work. You need Wi-Fi. You can't just connect on the fly. It doesn't work that way. So make sure they have Wi-Fi on VPN for it to work. VPN profile is missing on the C drive, or VPN certificate is missing. What the hell does that mean? I'm gonna go over that right now. Don't worry about it. So we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Oh, and the last one was, I forgot to add it actually. Dual isn't getting notifications. So what do I mean by that? So if someone has dual mobile on their phone and they're connected to VPN, sometimes you have an issue where the user or the client has no service on their phone, and their phone service is really bad, and they don't get a notification, they don't get a call me, they don't get send me a push, they don't get a text message. It's because their phone is bad. So you might have to put them on Wi-Fi, you might have to restart the phone, and they're probably having issues connecting to VPN because it's a two-factor authentication. You got to allow it on your phone. Maybe their phone is messed up, so you better make sure that their phone is working too. Part of logging into VPN is making sure that their phone is working. So if their phone is working, then you're not gonna have that problem. But sometimes you have a problem where there's no service on their phone, and then you can't do anything. You gotta give them a bypass code, like you gotta go here, and then you gotta give them a bypass code. So you click add a bypass code right here, and you give them a bypass code, and that will be the only way to actually let them in. And obviously we never do bypass status and then hit save changes and skip authentication. We never do that. If you do that in your job, you're gonna get fired. I'm telling you right now, do not do that. So this is basically allows them to just log in automatically without any type of authentication. If they're connected to VPN, or they're going to Webmail, or they're going to any website or anything that has to do with the company, and you have two-factor authentication enabled, and you do bypass for them, do not do that. If you do that, you're gonna get fired in your job. I'm letting you know right now. I'm not joking about that. So you're gonna get fired. Do not do that. Make sure it is always active. If not, give them a bypass code. All right. So how to troubleshoot. So now we gone over the basic stuff. Now I'm actually going to install it on this computer, and I'm going to show you what happens when you install Cisco VPN. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a really, really long video, but it's because you have to know this, okay? So now I'm going to install Cisco VPN. I'm going to open up my downloads folder. I have the client on here somewhere. If I could find it, because I do have it. Unless I installed Cisco already. Probably not. Packet tracer. Oh, here you go. So basically you go to the website. So the company. So you have to understand that in your environment, the company might have a web portal that they log into, and they download the Cisco AnyConnect client. So what do I mean by that? So the company that you're working for might have a certain website that they go to only, and that they have their own like MSI or .exe file that they download, and then when you download it, it installs the certificate, the profile, and their everything on the computer, and then you're able to use VPN after that. So it depends on the company. Other companies will like, can you go and download Cisco AnyConnect on the website? Download Cisco AnyConnect, and you might have to go into Cisco AnyConnect website, and you might have to download it right over here. You might have to go into downloads, and you might have to download the 4.7 one or whatever they give you, whatever version they have, because you got to remember that they have different versions. So maybe some companies don't support it, maybe they do support it. I don't know. It depends on the company, like I said. So let's install it real quick. All right, I'm gonna install it. So I'm gonna hit run, and it looks a little wonky, which is totally fine. So let's see if this does anything. It's supposed to work. So there we go. Next, install. And I want to show you how this works. All right. So you're going to see on the bottom right-hand side a globe. If it's not open, you might have to open it. So you hit the start menu. You click Cisco AnyConnect, right? So now you have this weird thing, right? This this strange thing, right? I am not sure what that is. I'm gonna click on it. So there's this thing called vpn.ine.com. I'm gonna connect to, yeah, I'm gonna connect to that one. That's what I'm gonna connect to. So this is a test VPN that was created for anyone that wants to test VPN, by the way. This was created. So you're gonna get that screen. You saw that message, this message, you're gonna get the screen if the certificate is not trusted or the site is not trusted. You could change the settings on it, obviously, and I'm gonna show you what happens when you do it. So when you work for a company, this is gonna be this is gonna be .com, whatever the name of the company. So it'll be like msp.com, whatever, you know. So some companies might have a name here. It has to have the name, and the name doesn't pop up unless you install the profile on the computer. So remember I told you about this? We went over this, like maybe a certificate is missing, the profile is missing. So where would you go to the profile? How would you go to the profile? How do you troubleshoot that? So as a level 1 technician, you need to know that sometimes these companies have profiles that you install on the local computer itself, on the laptop, or when you image the computer. So when you build a computer, you image it, it comes with VPN already, and it comes with a profile installed on it. So where's the profile located? So it's actually located right over here. I'll show you. So you go into C drive, local C, and it's not here. It's actually program data. So if you type program data, you hit space, you're gonna have this folder called Cisco. And you're gonna have this folder called Cisco AnyConnect Security, and you hit profile. And when you hit profile, there's gonna be a profile right over here. So it'll be your company profile, msp.com, I don't know, Amazon, Yahoo, Facebook, whatever. You're gonna have a profile right here. And then if that profile is right here, that means that it's correctly set up. And then you'll have a URL right here, because that profile works together with the URL down here on the bottom right-hand side. Just remember that. So if you're doing level 1 support or IT support, and your company, like the website is automatically in the bottom right-hand side. He knows the bottom right-hand side, and you're troubleshooting a computer and there is no website down there for some weird reason, then you know there's something wrong with that computer. You know that they're missing the profile for your company. So you might have to manually install the profile on the local C program data, Cisco AnyConnect profile, and you might have to add that file in there for this to work. Some companies might have a profile, some companies may not have a profile. It depends how it's set up in your environment. But for me, my personal environment, the jobs I worked before, they usually have a profile that you put on it. It's like a profile that's loaded on the computer, and that you have to manually put it there, if that makes sense. So I'm just, I have to go over this because you might encounter this in your job. All right. So now that that's done, now I'm going to connect to VPN, and then you're gonna be like, oh, but Kevin, you're getting this weird error message, and you got to change the settings. So you hit block notifications and trusted servers, and you connect. Obviously, you do not do this in real life. Do not do this in real life. Obviously, this is just for practice only, if that makes sense. So then you log in, and then if you're in an IT environment, you get a two-factor authentication, and you allow it from your phone. So you put your password in, you hit OK, you allow it from your phone, you trust it or you allow it, and then you're all set. And just connect anyway. And then it's going to download the VPN adapter. And I'll show you what that is. I'll show you how to get to that. And I'll show you how to troubleshoot that. So now we're fully connected, right? And when you're connected on VPN, you have to understand when you connect VPN, all the stuff that you normally do in your job in the office, it should work now. So the H drive should work. The share drive should work. Outlook should work now. Anything that you have that's in the office, it should work now. Outlook, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. They work anyway, but if you're opening share drive stuff that's on the network in the office, now it should actually work while being on a laptop. So you shouldn't have this issue now. So now you're on VPN, you should be able to open up your share drives, you should be opening up all your stuff, and you should be good to go. Now, how do you check the Cisco AnyConnect adapter? So you go into the start menu, you go in and type control panel, you go into view network status. You go into change advanced sharing settings. No, change adapter settings. Sorry, change adapter settings. And there's this thing called Cisco AnyConnect. You hit properties, and you hit IPv4. And you notice that automatically it gives it an IP address. That means it's working the way it's supposed to work. So some companies, the VPN might not work properly, so you might have to. Some companies, like some network admins, they might give you an IP address that you have to manually put down here. And you hit OK, and then VPN is going to work after that. So I don't know. It's just some weird issues that you might encounter. I'm just letting you know. That's an issue that I encounter. So you might have that issue, you might not have that issue. Obviously, the common issues is if Wi-Fi is not working on the laptop, you're gonna have a lot of problems, obviously. So now the certificate. How do you get into the certificate? I'll show you how to do that right now, and then we'll close out this video. So I hope this video helps you out. So you want to open up MMC as an admin. So you run as administrator. Obviously, I have admin rights here, so I could do it. I could do whatever I want. You go into add and remove snapping. I believe it's that one. Yeah, it is that one. You hit certificates. You hit add computer account, local computer, finish. So now you have this thing called personal, right? So here there should be a folder for VPN for Cisco AnyConnect. Just letting you know right now. You might not see it on this, because this is I'm testing something, so you might not see it here. You gotta remember that this is a test VPN connection, so you might not see it on my computer. But normally you'll have like Cisco AnyConnect or some sort of Cisco thing on the certificates, and you might have to you might have to allow it, or you might have to add the certificates on the computer. It depends on the company. Every company is different. So you might see certificates here. Some certificates might be missing from the computer or laptop, and then you can't connect to VPN. So you might have a bad computer. You might have a computer you might have to re-image. You might have a computer that the VPN doesn't want to work. Or obviously to troubleshoot VPN, you might want to try logging in as yourself, connected to the user's computer. So the computer can connect, if the user can connect to VPN and it's not working for them at all, but it works for you, for example, then you might want to open up VPN right over here, right? I can get out of this. This is just troubleshooting steps. You might want to open up VPN here, hit connect with your username, connect with your password, and then what you do is you once you're fully connected, you go into CMD and you run gpupdate force, because maybe the policies are missing on that computer, and you run gpupdate force. You let the policies get pushed in on that computer, and then you disconnect VPN and you have them try again. That might fix that problem. But like I said, maybe their account is locked out. Maybe they're locked out of dual or their two-factor authentication. Maybe their passwords expire. Or maybe they're missing the roaming profile or the profile on the C drive program data. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell, and I hope this video helps you out. So now you could say that you understand IT support, help desk, or tech support with VPN in depth. Basically, you could troubleshoot it in so many different ways. I hope this video helps you out. Obviously, the only thing we could do as an IT person, help desk, desktop support, or IT support is uninstall and reinstall it. If you try everything and it doesn't want to work, uninstall, reinstall, it might fix it as well. We can't do anything beyond that. If it doesn't work for him, and if it doesn't work for you, and it doesn't work for a bunch of other people, then that means you're having an issue where the network is completely down. And VPN, Cisco, the Zen scaler, the Cisco scaler is probably down. Everything's down probably right now. So you might have to escalate it to the network admin. You might have to escalate it to them. You might have to talk to management. Whatever your company is set up as, and you might have to escalate to the specific person to look at why it's not working. But if it doesn't work for anyone, and it's not working for them, and it's not working for you, then we have a big problem. Then VPN doesn't work for anyone. So. But you want to troubleshoot, this video is you want to troubleshoot everything you possibly can before you escalate the ticket to a level 2 guy or to a server admin or to a network admin. You don't want to just start, oh, it's not working. Okay, it's not working. I give up. All right, here you go. You could go look at it and you create a ticket, you send it to them. Did you try this? Did you try that? Did you try this? Did you try, sometimes there's an issue with their Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is probably not, the Wi-Fi might say connected, right? And it is not connected and it doesn't work. And does it work on your phone? It's not working on your phone. Does it work on your iPad? No, it doesn't work on your iPad. So you might have to restart your router, or you might have to contact your ISP. You don't know. So this is like little things on troubleshooting 101. So anyway, thank you for watching my video. I greatly appreciate it. We're gonna go into my PowerPoint slide. So hopefully you could see it. Hopefully you can see it. All right. So today is understanding the ticketing system remedy. So this actually is remedy. It's a remedy force ticketing system, and I want to go over the software. But before I go into that, I have to explain what it is, how it works. I got to explain a bunch of stuff. I could sit here and talk about the ticketing system and show you how to close and open tickets. But if you don't understand what the points of escalations are and how things work, then what's the point of me going over it? It doesn't make any sense. So obviously I got to go over this first in order for me to go over to the actual application. I created a ticket on this a while ago, like a year and a half, 2 years ago on Jira. So I'll leave that below in the description, so you can watch that video. So and this one's a little bit, it's gonna be a little more in depth. So understanding the ticketing system. So when you have a ticketing system, and my throat's gonna get a little dry because I'm gonna be talking the entire time. So drink some water. Also, I'm a little bit out of the weather, just so you guys know I'm not 100% myself. It's okay. So when you do a ticketing system, when you have a ticketing system and you do IT support, help desk, whatever, there is level 1. So this is the reason why I have a picture of this. So there's level 1. You have to understand, and I'm gonna go back and forth between me talking and showing you the screen. So you have to understand that when you have a ticketing system and you're level 1, you need to understand who it goes to, who the ticket goes to. You don't just randomly open and close tickets. You don't just randomly assign tickets on the fly, and you don't just assume that it goes to this person or that person. That's the reason why you need to understand the proper levels of escalation. You need to understand who the ticket goes to, and I'm going back to the screen, and why is that ticket going to that person. So say, for example, if someone needs a firewall change, you will give it to a network admin right over here. So you'll give it to a network admin because, you know, it's a firewall change. Say, for example, it's some sort of SQL database that just went down. Obviously, you have a ticket, you assign it to a software developer. Say, for example, there's an issue where someone's trying to send spam, phishing, malware, or someone tried to download an attachment that is miscellaneous by accident. Obviously, that will go to cybersecurity. Say, for example, someone wants you to add more memory to a virtual server or virtual infrastructure, or they want you to increase the hard drive space or memory on a virtual server, like VMware or what have you. That will go into an admin server. So that will go to an admin server. So you need to understand what ticket goes where. You don't just assume the ticket goes to that person. You need to understand the proper levels of escalation. So what the hell do I mean by that? So obviously, if there's a ticket that has to do with server admin, you give it to the server admin. If there's a ticket about cybersecurity, you give it to cybersecurity. If there's a ticket about network admin, you give it to network admin. If it's a software developer ticket where there's a website down, a website is not working, an SQL database is down, someone's doing something in prod or production on the server side of things, you know, they would deal with that. So obviously, you want to make sure you assign it to the right person. You don't just grab a ticket and assign it to manager, you know? And that's the reason why I point the hour at a manager, because some of these changes that people are going to be requesting or asking for, say, for example, it's a server admin change, like somebody wants access to a certain server, right? The server admin doesn't give the person access to that server. He has to go to the IT manager, like, can you approve this? Is this allowed? Then the IT manager will email or message or call the director and ask the director, is this okay? Can they have access to the server? And the director's like, all right, let me get back to you. Let me talk to the CTO. Then the CTO will be part of the email as well. So it'll be the director, the CTO, and the manager in one email, and they all say approve, approve, approve. And then you give someone access to the server, you know? So that's just a hypothetical example. Obviously, if you're doing level 1 support, you need to understand if you have access to do a password reset or change a password or create an account, that's your job. You're level 1. You don't give that to a server admin. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you give a server admin a level 1 ticket? The reason why I put level 2 question mark is because some companies have level 2 support, and then level 2 will be doing some server admin stuff, but also desktop support, and they'll have access to touch the servers. But some companies just have level 1 support and they only have limited access, which is like password reset, creating distribution groups. Probably won't even create the account. The server admin might create the account. They might have access to create the account and the server admin doesn't do anything. You know, it depends on the company. Every company is different. What you need to understand is the point of escalation, the point of things where they go. You don't just randomly assume that it goes to that location. Another example of that is like someone is asking for a firewall change and you assign the ticket to a software developer. And it's like, why are you giving me this? I don't do firewall changes. What the hell's wrong with you? Why are you giving me this? Another example of that would be someone's asking for you to whitelist a a device like a laptop or something, they're trying to connect to the Wi-Fi and the laptop is blacklisted and they need to whitelist it. And you can't whitelist it because you're not a network admin. And you give that ticket, instead of giving it to a network admin, you give it to a cybersecurity person. And like, why are you giving me this ticket? I don't handle this. And then they assign it back to you or they give it to the network admin. So things like that. You have to understand the proper levels of escalation. You don't just randomly assign tickets to people and assume that that's the right person that gets the ticket. So that's the reason why I'm going over this, is because some people don't understand this, and some people don't, some people don't get proper training as well, and some people assume that it goes to this person, and some people don't get training at all, and they don't know what to do with the ticket. So that's the reason why I tell people to look at your old tickets, ask a lot of questions, talk to your colleague, talk to your manager, etc., etc., etc. So I don't want to go more in depth into this, but that's basically it. And obviously, when you have a ticketing system, you have your SLA, which is a service level agreement. How long can you have a ticket for? So if you're working with a senior managing director, that ticket might be good for about a day. If you're working with a director, that ticket might be good for a day, and then you can't keep it open, or you can't keep it in progress, and you have to close it right away. There's certain tickets that you'll be assigned that's given to you, and they're important people that are really important for the company, and they expect it to be fixed right away. You start getting notifications and warnings on these tickets, like if you have ServiceNow, or if you have Jira, or if you have any of these other ticketing systems, you'll get an email notification saying that this ticket has been open for way too long, for more than 40 minutes. Please update the ticket, please respond to the user, or something like that. You get some sort of notification. So that's a service level agreement. So basically you made an agreement with the client or with the user that basically this ticket will not be open for a certain amount of days. It would actually get closed eventually. You don't want the ticket to be there for a whole month, if that makes sense. You want to make sure you update the ticket, or you want to make sure you update the ticket and put a reason why it's still open and something like that. So there's a service level agreement for these tickets. You don't just keep the ticket open or you hold on to the ticket. It doesn't work that way. You have to put notes on it. There's certain requirements and certain things you got to have in order for the ticket to remain open, or in order for the ticket to be put in progress, if that makes sense. So also we're going to go into creating tickets. So now obviously when you create a ticket, if certain things need approval, you get approval. Attach the approval on an email into the actual ticket. Be clear about your information. So if someone's asking for example, like someone had an issue with Outlook. The Outlook was crashing, and Outlook was crashing because they had an add-in on Outlook. You want to put that when you close a ticket. When you create a ticket, you close the ticket, but Outlook was not responding because of this plugin. I had to go to COM add-ins and disable this plugin. An example like that. You want to make your tickets as clear as possible, so then when you have the same issue again, you can go back to your old tickets, and then you could go and look at it and see what you did to resolve the issue. And also other people that work in the team could see what you did to resolve the issue. You want to make your notes as clear as possible. You don't want to just put random things on the notes, or you don't want to put something like I just fixed it or I just resolved it. That's not a useful ticket to close. That's not how you close a ticket. So that's not what you do. You want to know everything down and put what you did to resolve the issue. Part of closing tickets is don't just randomly close a ticket. If a user hasn't gone back to you in 2 to 3 days or 4 days, keep emailing them, keep sending them messages, and then if they don't get back to you, then you could close a ticket. I say, like, ideally, I say after a week. If someone doesn't get back to you after a week, just close the ticket. You did not resolve the ticket because the user or the client never got back to me. Just wait like a week and then close the ticket. Now, if they get back to you, then what you do is obviously you go back to the ticket, you reopen it, and you put he finally got back to me, and then you resolve the issue. And that's what you do. Also, part of closing tickets, the user, the client loves communication. They love it when you follow up with them. So like an example of that would be if someone's having an Excel issue and you resolve the Excel issue, and then you email them or message them and ask them, are you still having the same issue? I want to make sure I close out this ticket. Before I close out the ticket, I want to make sure you're still having the same issue. You're still having the same issue? No, you're not. All right, I'm going to close the ticket and I'm going to put notes on it. Is that okay with you? All right, that's okay with you. You don't just randomly close the ticket. You want to follow up with the user. Make sure that they're A-okay. Make sure they're not having issues anymore. And then after that, you close the ticket, if that makes sense. Obviously, putting in key notes on how you fix and resolve the issue. You don't just randomly close a ticket and you put absolutely nothing there. You just close it out and that's it. That doesn't make any sense. You want to put all your notes in there and be as clear as possible. Reassigning tickets, I just spoke about this. You're just calling about a ticket. Make sure if you have a ticket, make sure anyone that goes on vacation, make sure those tickets are reassigned to someone else, because the person on vacation won't be handling these issues. You're going to be getting a bunch of phone calls about tickets or issues that have not been resolved yet. And then when you go in the queue and look at the tickets of that other person, they're probably not even available. They're probably on vacation or something like that, or they're probably sick or something. You don't know. So you wanna make sure that every ticket is accounted for. If you have tickets in the queue, or if you have tickets in someone else's queue. And sometimes you may have resolved the issue yourself for somebody else. So you might want to talk to them and tell them, oh, listen, I fixed that issue for you already. Can you give me that ticket for me instead? Assign it back to me and I'll close it out since I fixed it already. Like, oh, okay, yeah, thank you, Kevin. You know, like that. An example of that, for example. Or communicate with another user, or communicate with another tech. If you're going to assign the ticket to them, tell them, oh, I'm going to give you this ticket because it seems like you worked with this user already. Or I'm going to give you this ticket because you have more experience than me. You know how to fix this. So I'm going to give you the ticket. Is that okay with you? You know, obviously you want to communicate with people. You just don't randomly assign them the ticket. Also, same thing with escalation. You want to let them know that you gave them a ticket. Like if you give a sysadmin a certain ticket, you want to ask him, like if his name is Juan, whatever. Hey Juan, I gave you this ticket. I know you're working on this. I know you're a sysadmin. I know you're working on this issue. I just want to let you know I assigned this ticket to you. This is a sysadmin ticket. That's okay with you? Like, yeah, that's okay with you. Okay. And then you put notes on it. I assigned this to Juan. He's a sysadmin. He's looking into it. You know, you put notes on it. And see, in some of these notes, you're able, the client's actually able to see the notes that you put in, depending on how the visibility settings are set up on the ticketing system. So you could put all that in the notes, like it's being handled by a sysadmin, it's being handled by a network admin, it's being looked at by cybersecurity, it's being looked at by management. You know, you have all these notes you could put on, and the client could see all those notes. Depending on how your ticketing system is set up, those are the things you want to look into. Obviously, at the last one, which is what I spoke about, make sure you assign the ticket to the right person. Don't just randomly assign tickets to people that have nothing to do with that issue or that task, if that makes sense. All right. Having tickets stuck in the queue. This one happens a lot. You know, can't close tickets because you're waiting on a client. Put a note on it. Put a note on it every day. I'm still waiting for the client. Doesn't matter if they haven't gone back to you. Just put a note on it. Managers love it when you update all your tickets. Can't close tickets because it's a project. Put a note on it. Obviously, if it's a project that's going to happen in the next 2-3 months, put a note on it. They'll put something on the ticket. You know, can't close ticket because you're waiting for escalation to get back with you. Put it on the ticket. It's just been escalated, and then follow up with the sysadmin or the network admin. Ask them what's going on. Are you guys looking at it, or you guys are not looking at it? What are you guys doing? One thing I recommend for Helpdesk is create a ticket and then create a sub-ticket inside of it, and create a sub-ticket and assign that to the sysadmin. That way they can't close the ticket unless they did the task, and then you could close your own ticket. So basically you create a ticket within a ticket. So you create your big ticket, your own ticket, and you know that has to do with sysadmin. You assign them a ticket, and then they close out their ticket, and you can close your ticket out. So that's the way I would do it. Like I create a sub-ticket inside of a ticketing system, assign that to the server admin or network admin, make sure they take care of it, and then once I know they take care of it, I go to my ticketing system or my ticket, and I close out my ticket, and then both tickets get closed together. You know, you could just create mini tickets. Like you could create, like, so for example, as a new hire, you might have to assign it to hardware support. You assign it to hardware support, or there's a server admin ticket. You just create another ticket inside of your ticket and assign it to someone else. You know, that's what I would do. That's how you keep track of stuff, if that makes sense. Obviously, you don't know how to deal with the ticket. Check old tickets in the queue. Maybe someone's fixed it before. Obviously, ask for help. You know, ask for help. You know, you're not gonna know everything. No one's gonna know everything. Ask for help. Talk to your colleague. Check the ticketing system. Talk to your manager. Maybe you're friends with a sysadmin. Maybe you're buddy with the sysadmin. Maybe he can help you out and help you figure out why they're having that weird issue. You know, you don't know. So those are the things you want to look into. The last, but not at least, managing your queue. You gotta know how to manage your queue. Don't have a certain amount of tickets in the queue. So managers only want to see 10 to 15 tickets max a day. Update all your tickets because the manager does a scan. So the manager scans the ticketing system, and it tells them when is the last tickets that got updated. When's the last tickets? When's the last time the tickets got updated? Another scan they do is when's the last time people follow up with their clients or users. And then there's another one that says how many tickets everyone closed per day. You know, there's a lot of different things that they run. geometrics. They run a lot of different things. So they're able to see all that. Just so you guys don't know, maybe you do know, maybe you don't know. That's how they check that's how they check with each individual employee that does help desk or IT support. This is very important. Take your time. This isn't a race. What do I mean by that? Take your time with closing tickets. It's not a race. This is not a race to see who closes the most tickets. As a manager, they don't care if you close 5 or 6 tickets and it took you a whole day. You know, it's kind of hard, because when you guys think about it, I'm gonna give you a hypothetical example. It's kind of hard because it's kind of not fair. It's fair because you're gonna have someone that, and some people are gonna argue with me about this. You're gonna have someone that has 5 tickets that are server admin tickets, and they can't close the ticket unless the server admin works together with you, and then you finally can close the ticket. And then you have like someone that has 15 tickets that they close, and they're all easy tickets, like a password reset, my account is locked out, my email needs to be set up, my Chrome's not working, you know. And then this other guy doesn't have those kinds of tickets. He has like a server admin tickets, like really hard, crazy tickets that it took him 2-3 hours to close, you know. So you got to keep that in mind too. Some people have really complicated tickets, and they probably close 2-3 tickets, but it's probably super complicated. You don't know. So you want to look at all that too. So the managers do keep that in mind. They check the notes on every ticket. So like, maybe I spent 2-3 hours on this because this was a project. Like I had to do this, I had to do that, just to get it to work, you know? So just because someone closed 15 tickets doesn't mean that they're the best employee in the world. They probably closed some easy tickets, like a password reset, account is locked out, my domain account is locked out, my phone can't connect to Wi-Fi, you know, little tickets like that. What about the guy that he's like level 1 support, but he's been in the company for a while now doing help desk, and he's closing out like project tickets, like I need you to check and whitelist these IP addresses for me. I need you to check when was the last time these computers checked in for me, you know, like crazy complicated tickets, you know. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Some people have easy tickets, some people don't have easy tickets, you know. It depends what you get, you know. Last but not least, don't take too many tickets at a time. Everyone needs to work together to manage the queue, and everyone works together as a team, you know. And as a team and manage the queue, you know, work together as a team, manage the queue, you know. That's basically it. That's basically it in a nutshell. So I'm gonna go to stop sharing again. Now I'm gonna share my other screen. All right, so hopefully you could see this. I think you can. So now I'm on my ticketing system. So we're just gonna go over it, not in depth, obviously. Let me show you how it works. So if you want me to make an in-depth video on this, let me know. I will. I'm just gonna show you how to create a ticket. So you hit new incident. I'm gonna do my it says add a requester. So can I add myself? Let's see if it lets me. Let's see if it lets me add myself. It's supposed to. I wouldn't see right now. Okay. Outlook. So we're gonna say email. I email it about it. It's open right now. It's actually high right now. And I'm gonna send it to me. I'm gonna send it. See, my Outlook isn't working. And I'm gonna do software. Save. So my Outlook isn't working, right? It could mean a lot of different things. It's not. It could be anything. So for me, it was the issue I had was my Outlook wasn't working because I had an issue with a plugin. I had an issue with a plugin, right? Just go over that as a hypothetical example. So my Outlook wasn't working because of a plugin. So if I put close this ticket, what happens? Does it just close the ticket? Is that what happens? Let me see. I actually closed the ticket. So I don't like that. I don't like the fact. So let me see. Let's go over a different ticket. Let me go back to another ticket. Request monitor for, let's just do my email. What's wrong with my email, right? Assign to agent, assigned to me. Oh, you can reply right here. This is what it is. Okay. And then you can close the ticket. Email. To hit reply. Email was down this morning. Please try again. Regards, Kevin. Now you can actually put attachments here, which is kind of cool, and you hit send. And then this is associate, discuss more, and then you could just close the ticket. And add a note. This has been resolved. This has been resolved. We had an issue with the server this morning. It says add and set as closed. There we go. That's it. Put a note. So that like little things like that. So just like a small video on going over the ticketing system. But that's basically it. That's basically it. So I want to go over in depth with this, but that's basically it. You need to understand Remedy. You need to understand Jira. You need to understand ServiceNow. And I wanted to go over this real quick. And I also wanted to go over how the ticketing system works and what you should be aware of and what you should know. All right. Went to Azure. I'm already logged into Azure. I got a license account for MDM. I spoke about MDM before. It's mobile device management. In case you guys don't know what that is, it's called mobile device management. So basically, you're able to manage the device. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a dummy account, and then I'm gonna log into it, and I'm gonna show you how it looks like and everything. So here, we're gonna go into Azure Active Directory. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to users. So now I have a bunch of users here. I want to make a brand new one, so it's gonna be called new user. And for the test purposes, we're gonna call it Kev. And it's going to give you a green check mark, which means that you could actually use that name. And I'm going to do Kevin as a name, and last name, Polinario, which is my, you know, I guess my official last name. So, and then we're going to do create. And now I want to assign it MDM or Intune license. That's basically what the purpose of this video is today. So we're going to go back to home. We're going to hit the little tabs over here. We're going to hit Azure Active Directory. So you're going to see all these little tabs over here. You're going to hit licenses. And we're going to do all products. It says right there, Enterprise Mobility. We're going to click that. We're going to assign it to him. To that Kev guy. So it's going to Kev, select, assign. And it's going to give you an error message. I'm like, what is this error message? So I did some research. A license cannot be assigned to user with a usage without a usage location specified. So that means is you have to tell Azure or you have to go back into Azure Active Directory, go into users, and you have to specify where this person lives or what country they're from and stuff like that. And that message will go away. So what you do is you click on Kev. See where it says usage location, there's nothing there. You hit edit. And you change it to the United States or whatever country whatever country you're from. And then you just save it, and it's saved successfully. And then when you do is you go back into licenses, you go back to all products. I'm gonna assign them both. I'm gonna select Kevin again. I'm gonna hit select, and I'm gonna hit assign. It should work now. And it says licenses assigned. Licenses have been assigned to one user. So now that we're done with that, I'm actually gonna share my phone screen with you, and I'm gonna show you what happens when you assign it. So give me a second to me. Yeah, so I'm on my phone right now. So I downloaded company portal. So then what you do is you have to go into company portal. You hit sign in, right? And you gotta sign in with that lone email address, whatever I created, because we're gonna confirm that it's Kev. So you go into your Active Directory. You're gonna go into users, and it should be this one, Kev at BK, which I have it set up already. So you hit next. So I'm gonna log in right now. I put a easy password, nothing crazy. It's going to prompt me to make a new password, which is totally fine. So it doesn't really bother me. And I'm going to make a brand new password. And I'm going to confirm it. I'm gonna sign in. And then here inside company portal, it's managed by your company. So you see how it's not working right now? It's just taking you have to give it a few seconds for the license to take effect. It's actually not letting me do anything right now. So let me try again. See if it lets me do it. It says your company support needs to assign a licenses for access. Your company support has not given you access to this app. So go ahead and sign in again. Let's try one more time. It does take a bit of time to replicate on the system. That's the reason why it's not working. So it's just gonna try one last time. So it's giving me that error message. So let me go back here. So how do you confirm that? You just click on the user, you click on licenses, and you see both of them are assigned to him. So it should work. Maybe it's taking a bit of time to sign in. So we're gonna go back here. We're gonna go back to licenses. We're gonna go back to all products. It says assign one, so it's already assigned to him. We go back to him. It's probably gonna say that it's already assigned to him, so it doesn't, you can't really do anything. So let's try this one more time. For the sake of this, let's try it one more time. KEV. Might take a few seconds for it to replicate. Let's try one more time. Let's see. Is it the right user? Is that the reason why it don't work? So we're gonna go back into here. We're gonna go back to Azure Active Directory, back to users. It's gonna be KEV, Kev, and it says it's there. So see licenses. There's nothing there. User's license date has been reprocessed. I will try that again. Maybe it'll work now. So you gotta give it a couple of minutes. Sometimes it takes like 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes. It really depends on just depends on the sync time. Sometimes it takes a bit of time for it to replicate across the system. So I'm trying this one more time. There we go. Finally worked. All right. So they're gonna get this prompt right over here, which is they could erase your data. You gotta change your screen lock. You gotta set your password. You gotta monitor screen lock attempts and everything. So you gotta read all this, but people don't really read it, right? So hit activate. So like I said, it does take time to replicate. You see how long it took? It took a couple more minutes than normal. It actually is registering the device right now, which is really good. It's actually working. So in here, you would actually deploy all the apps like Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook. You will put it all in here. So it's basically a container, and you containerize all the apps inside of it. So why are we doing that? It's because it allows you to manage the person's device. We want to manage their device because we don't want them to use their device for other stuff. That's why we recommend people that they get a work phone or something like that. So if you go here, it says my device is there. You hit view all. Here you would add all the apps you want. Obviously there's nothing deployed here. And then that's it. That's pretty much it for this. So that's pretty much it for this one. So I'm gonna get out of my phone for a second, and I'm gonna go back to my screen over here. You guys still see me here. So I'm gonna go into home. I'm gonna go into devices. So how did I get to this screen? So what you do is you go back to home. You go back to Intunes. It redirects you to this website. You have to sign in and confirm that it's you. And then what you do is you go into devices, and it should show my Android devices there. So then what you do is you do all devices. You gotta give it time. Give it all devices. You gotta give it time for it to actually show up in the system. So let's give it time. You see one device is there. It says one device is there, so you probably gotta refresh it a little bit. It still hasn't checked in yet. Just give it a bit of time. There we go. Now it finally showed up. I manually pushed the sync on it on my phone. Finally showed up. So then what you do is you could just mess with this. You could retire the device. It says, are you sure you want to remove the data? This will remove everything on the phone, by the way. So we would never do that. It's not retirement, wipe. We would never wipe the phone unless it gets stolen or something. Unless someone happens to steal the phone and they request you to wipe the whole phone, and by compliance reasons, by HR or by the employee themselves, and you gotta get approval for this, then you would just wipe the whole phone. Retiring means basically you remove the license or company portal from this phone itself. That's basically what it is. So you want to remove company data on this device. This will remove the data managed by Intunes. Nothing will get harmed on the user's phone, blah, blah, blah. This is basically what that is. And then there's delete, and then there's remote lock. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to hit retire. I'm going to hit yes. So and that's it. That's pretty much it. Administrators, however, local group policy could be used to adjust settings on a single computer. And then, so basically group policy allows you to change settings on a computer or on a user level, depending on how you set it up. It depends on what company you're working for. You might have access to it. You may not have access to it. So it's super important you know what it is, though. And I'm going to show you what you should care about if you're doing group policy in your job and you have access to it, what you should care about. Just remember that group policy is linked to OU, group policy is linked to domain, group policy is linked to site, and local group policy. That sounds really complicated. Don't worry about the definition. Don't worry about this. I want to show you this is all you should care about if you're doing desktop support help desk. Literally all you care about is this, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. So I'm going to put this on my other screen, and I'm going to close this out. So literally all you care about if you're doing group policy, if you're doing IT support or help desk and you have access to it, this is all you care about. And I'm going to show you what you should care about. Go into your server, go to server manager. So obviously we created a server already, so you already know we did that. So click on server manager, go to tools, and go to group policy management. All you literally care about for this video is two things. Just remember, take this from my video, two things. One is if you have access to group policy, open it up and then hit settings. And I'm going to hit add for this. Hit settings. This is all you care about. All you care about is this. All you care about is this. If you have access to group policy, this is all you care about. If you're doing level 1, password history, password age, password length, how long a password is good for before the person gets locked out, how long is the password good for, how many months is good for, and how long they could get, how many times they have to use a password until you get locked out of their account and stuff like that. That's all you care about if you're doing level 1. Just remember that. So that's the first thing you should care about. The second thing you should care about is security groups. So if you're new to IT or you're doing help desk or IT support, you care about security groups. So you will go into your server manager, you go into tools, you go into users and computers, literally, and a lot of these people that create these. Now, a lot of the companies or a lot of people that do server admin or level 2 or whatever, they usually have security groups for group policy. So they will have something like, I'll give you a hypothetical example. You would just right click on the users tab and they have a group and it's going to be called like GPO, and then GPO disable or something like that. Or it's going to say like USB disable or something like that, and you hit OK. And then literally what they will have in the group, like they will have literally in this, they'll have a description that says this disables task manager. And then, you hit apply, and then it has a name, it has a description on it. And then the person that inherits that group policy would be added to this group. Like literally they would add the person into it. And then now that person can't access task manager. So this is a hypothetical example. This is something that you will see in level 1. Just adding people to groups, removing them, adding them, removing them, adding them, and you'll be with other admins, you'll be with other level 2 people or level 1. Like just add them to this group, and they're good to go. Just add them to that group, and they're good to go. Just remove them from this group. that they're trying to do control delete, it doesn't work. Just remove them from control delete group and they're good to go. So just remember that's all we care about. So I'm gonna delete this, and today is gonna be very, very simple. I logged in as Janet Smith already, if you see right over here, and I disabled Task Manager. I'm gonna show you how I did that, and I'm gonna show you why is that happening for her? Why she logged in literally and it's not, she can't do anything on Task Manager. Why it doesn't work? So I logged in as Janet Smith right over here. I'm gonna log off for the sake of this video. I'm gonna log off and sign back in as Janet Smith, and I'm gonna show you what I did. So literally I disabled Task Manager for her just now, behind the scenes obviously, and I'm gonna show you how I did that. So I'm gonna log in with password 123, capital P, password 123. If you right click on the bottom, Task Manager is grayed out. I'm clicking on it, doesn't even work. You can't do anything. And if you do Control Delete, Task Manager is not even there. Kind of cool, right? That's pretty cool, right? Yeah. So she can't use Task Manager, and there's like so many things you could do on a GPO level that's scary. I don't want to I don't want to confuse you guys, but I want to show you how I did it. It's just a simple video on group policy. I don't want to confuse everyone. So literally what I did was I went into my GPO object right over here, GPO group policy management. And literally what I did was I went under Kevtech, and there's this thing called domain policy, which is what I went over, literally what I went over. I right clicked on it, I hit edit, and I edited it. I edited this to disable the Task Manager. How do you do that? I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So you could remember group policy, you could do it on the computer level or on the user level. So basically I could grab, sorry about that. Basically I could literally grab a computer and do GPO on a computer. I could literally grab a user account like Janet Smith and do it on Janet Smith. So it depends how you have it set up in your environment. Some companies will give you access to group policy. Some companies will not. Just letting you know right now. It depends on the company you work for. For today's video, literally what we're going to do is disable Task Manager, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to go into policies, window settings, administration tools, system. See where it says Control Delete? This is how I did it. I went into Control Delete, and it says Remove Task Manager. Double clicked on it. It's enabled. And literally, group policy, it tells you what they do, what each thing that you're trying to do, what it does, and how it works. So this is, if you enable this policy, users will not be able to access Task Manager. If the user tries to start Task Manager, it will appear as being blocked. So obviously, if I wanted to enable it or disable it or not configure it, I just click on that and I hit OK. And then I right click over here, and it's still not going to work. So literally, what we do is you sign out. And this is how you learn in IT. This is how you learn. You play around with stuff. You break stuff. You play around with stuff. It's fun. It's fun actually. So you do break stuff. You fix stuff. Break stuff. Just fix stuff. Break stuff. So you right click on it. Now it works. Now see, it works now. I logged off and logged back in. Now it works now. And then if I wanna, I can remove a bunch of stuff. So let me do enable this pad. The users will not see log off button. So I'm gonna enable that. I'm going to enable Task Manager, and I'm going to log off and log back in again. So does it work? If you do gpupdate force, does it take the policy? Let's find out. Let's just, for the sake of this video, let's just test it. So I'm going to do gpupdate force. I'm going to let the policies push in. So I removed the log off button, and I removed Task Manager. Let's see if it works. So let's see if it immediately grabs the information from the OU, the domain controller. So it does. Look at that. I don't even got to log off and log back in. Look at that. Look at that. I can't even do anything. And can I log off? Can I sign out? It says remove log off button. Let me see. Let me see. If I do Control Alt Delete. Oh, sign out is not there anymore. Oh, wow. But it's still here. It's right here. Interesting. Yeah, so that actually works. If you run gpupdate force, that actually works. So now if you want to go more into depth with GP updates and stuff like that, there is this thing called GP update information. So there's a lot of commands you could run, by the way. GP update. CMD GP. Oh. You can run there's a lot of different commands you can run. So there's GP update result, you know, this thing is GP result, and you do GP result /R, and it'll tell you what the policies are for this object or this computer, which is kind of cool. So you could run a bunch of commands here, and it tells you right there, like literally, it tells you right there, like if you want to get more information, you can. Obviously, if you're new to tech or IT, I always tell people to type GP update /help or GP update /help like this. See if it lets me do it. Probably not. It gives you the help right there. Like if you do this, you do question mark, it tells you what everything does. So if you're new to IT and you need help, if you need help with command lines and stuff like that, it literally you type help or you type question mark and it gives you more results. Same thing with ipconfig. So if you do ipconfig, you do help, for example, it tells you what it is and it tells you what each command does. If you do another example we do is, I think it's ping help. Not ping help, sorry. Ping /help. Right there, there we go. And it tells you like literally tells you everything right there in your face and what each thing does. So if you ever get lost or something like that with the CMD, if you have access to CMDs, remember some companies may not have access to this, and you could just run, you know, those things. All you care about as an IT person, if you take anything from this video, is GP update force. So you care about is GP update force because you're pushing out policies for a computer or a user. All you care about is GP update force. That's literally all you care about as a newbie in IT. If you have access to CMD and if you can run CMD commands, and you want to know if the security groups are working, you run GP update result. That's all you care about. GP update result. So those two commands, GP update result, and that's it. So GP update, GP result /R. Those two commands. Those are the only two commands you care about. GP update result, the GP result /R, and GP update force. Those are the only two commands you care about. And the security groups, like I went over, so if you go to users and computers and you add them to a group and stuff like that, that's all you care about if you're doing group policy. So this is just one video on doing task manager. You saw how I disabled it. Obviously, you could get more complicated with it, create another OU. So you could go into here and, or actually users and computers and then right click on it and hit new. And then hit OU, organization unit, and make a new organization unit and actually put it in there. You could do that. A lot of companies do that. So by the way, a lot of companies do that. So a lot of companies will have like HR, for example, and then you hit OK, and then a bunch of users on this, and then you go into here, and you go into organization unit. You have a company, you have a department called legal, and there are probably a bunch of people in this group, and then you have another one which is called IT, and it's called IT, and then you have a bunch of different ones, and then you just drag and drop the computer in there, or you drag and drop the user in there. That's all you care about if you're doing level 1, if you have access to do it. So that's it. If you take anything from this video, this is how you disable Task Manager, running CMD commands, and adding people to security groups. That's all you care about. So when they ask for it, level 1 support, if you know how to do it, now you could say you know how to do it after watching this video. I hope you could say that, And if you need me to explain it even more in detail, let me know. But this is basically level 1 GPO updates, GPO policies, and CMD commands. All right, and that's it. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. My screen is share. Right. So today is Server 2016 Share Drive Access. What is NTFS? NTFS or NT file system. Sometimes it's a new technology for file system used for file system that Windows NT operating system uses for storing and retrieving files on a hard disk. However, NTFS offers a number of improvements over FAT and HPFS in terms of performance. So this is like a whole definition. I don't really I put it in here, but like you don't have to memorize a definition. If you're going to a job interview, all you need to know is NTFS is basically shared drive permissioning. And I'm going to explain that right now, and I'm going to break it down for you, okay? So how is it used at work? So we have different security groups. So we have a security group, and a bunch of people are added to that security group, and then people have access to that folder. That's usually how it's done on an IT department, from my experience. Whether I might be wrong, it might be right, depending on the company, obviously. But there is a security group, and in that security group is a bunch of people added to that group. And then you add that security group to the folder that you're trying to share, and then you're good after that. All you gotta do literally is have the user log off and log back in, and then you map the drive for them. That's my personal experience. Obviously, it's different for every company. Some companies, they might grant the user access to that folder without adding them to a group. They might just have the user get added to a group, and they're good to go. Or they might just have a user added by themselves to that folder and have access to it. And then some companies, they don't want the user to have access to everything. They might just give them access to one specific folder. So it really depends on the company. It really depends how you have it set up in your department and stuff like that. But you need to understand shared drive permissioning. That is very important. All right. How is it used for desktop support? Obviously, I just went over. Level 1 might have permission to grant shared drive access. They may not. Do you want the user to inherit the whole folder? Do you want them to have access to all the folders in that company? Or do you want them to just have access to one folder? That's entirely up to you. That's entirely up to your department. Shared drive access is almost used in every company. Every company I have worked in IT, they do shared drive accessing. I might be wrong. I may be right. I don't know. But this is something you need to know if you're doing help desk or desktop support. Just remember that. And then some people that do server admin, they might be doing this a lot. From my personal experience, if you're a junior admin, you might be touching this a lot as well. If you do level 1, you may not be touching this. It really depends on your company. It depends on what company you're working for and stuff like that. So now that I went over that, let's go over this. So I logged into my server. Obviously, I'm already logged in. How do you create a shared drive folder? So you basically go into your local C, you right click on it. I hit properties, I hit sharing, and I hit shared. So this basically allows me to share the folder. So if I make a new folder, I'll show you exactly how I did it. I did a new folder. I'm gonna call it tests, all right? And then I'm gonna right click on it. I'm gonna hit properties. I'm gonna hit properties, and I'm gonna do share. And then this is not network path, not shared. You hit shared, and you just hit share. And now it's a shared drive path directory. And how do you confirm that it is there? You basically go to that path. So if you go back, see how I went all the way, it's a shared drive now. Now, when it has a little green mark like that, that means it's a shared folder, if that makes sense. So what are we trying to accomplish today? What am I trying to show you today? So basically, we're going to create a shared folder. This is for lab simulations, obviously. We're going to go into Kevtech, right? So we're going to go back. So you can either try to write it down, or you could write down the path directory, or you could just right click on it. You could hit properties, and then you could just copy the whole path and literally just go into it. That's it. So I'm gonna go one step back. And then what I'm gonna do is, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna create a bunch of folders. So I'm gonna create one called IT. I'm gonna create another one called HR, because we're doing lab simulations right now. I'm going to create another one called compliance. I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to call that Helpdesk. All right. So now we have a bunch of folders. And what is shared drive permissioning? So from my personal experience, usually people have a shared drive creation folder, and then they have a group associated with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Active Directory users and computers, right? And how do you get into it? You hit Server Manager and you hit Active Directory users and computers, or you go to the shortcut. I created a shortcut already, so I'm obviously going to go here. And I'm going to do, literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my users account or my users folder, and I'm going to do a group. I'm going to literally do a group, and I'm going to call it Helpdesk. And I'm going to create a security group global, and I'm going to hit, it might exist already. So let me see if it exists. This does exist. So we're gonna go into. So there's a person called Helpdesk. Is there a group called Helpdesk? Let me see. Helpdesk. Yeah, it says the thing, this already exists. So so how do I confirm that it exists? You hit find, and I'm gonna hit Helpdesk. So it's a user that is called, I'm gonna do entire directory. So it's a user called Helpdesk. So what I'm gonna do is, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna call it something else then. Let's do a group, and let's do desktop support. This should work. There we go. All right, so we want people to have access to that folder, right? So we're gonna go back to the folder. This folder called Helpdesk, right? We're gonna right click on it. We're gonna hit properties. We're gonna go into share, security, edit, right? And literally, see how everyone has, see how there's different groups added here. Literally, we're gonna go into add, and I'm gonna do desktop. See now, desktop support is in it. So if you go to the advanced settings, it says, do you want it to read it and execute? You can. Do you want it to inherit the whole folder, going from the sub level to the level, the different levels of folders? So this gets a little complicated. I'm just letting you know. You hit edit. If you hit edit, there is modify and full control. So obviously, since they're Helpdesk, I'm gonna give him full control and modify. I'm gonna give him access to everything. And then you hit OK, and then you hit OK, and then you hit OK. So let's go back into it. It's going to properties again. We're gonna go back into security. We're gonna go back into the advanced tab. It says inherited from none. It's not inheriting anything. So, and then what I'm gonna do is, for the sake of this video, you see what I'm gonna do right now. See, I have a lot of different users and groups. I already have a Helpdesk account, right? So I'm gonna add the Helpdesk account to this folder called, or the security group called desktop support. So I'm gonna right click on it, hit properties, hit members, and I'm gonna do desktop support. And I'm gonna do apply, I'm gonna do okay. And what I'm gonna do is, because I don't remember the password, I'm gonna do reset password. I'm gonna do same thing, password 123, password 123. And now I'm gonna go into my VM right over here, right? Control delete. And I'm gonna try to log in as Helpdesk. If you work in an IT department, right? See this, the security group I just created. A lot of these companies will have a description on it. So and some, like a lot of these companies that I worked in, they have a description on it, and it tells you what that folder is and stuff like that. So usually what I do is, depending on your company, obviously, I like to keep everything organized. So this is what I do. I literally would copy and paste the shared drive directory, and I would right click on properties, and I would go to desktop support, and I'll put it in the description, and I will write something like folder access to Kevtech Helpdesk, right? That's what I would do if it was me in my department. We do this, by the way, in my department. Other departments do that too. Some companies do that. Every company has to have some sort of way to keep this organized. Otherwise, it's going to drive you crazy, you know? So then what you do is you're logged in as this person, right? And remember this. This can literally be an interview question. How do you map a drive? How do you map a drive? Oh, I go into C Drive Explorer, go to this PC, you right click on this PC, and you do map network drive. And then you pick a letter, and then you map the drive, whatever path directory it is. So literally you have a bunch of security groups. Hopefully that makes sense. Literally you have a bunch of security groups like this one, right? So you go into it, and literally what I would do if I was the IT helpdesk person or desktop support, I just copy and paste it. And then I would just throw it in here, if that makes sense. And it might not let me copy and paste. It doesn't let you do that. So it's totally fine. So you'll do server 2016 Kevtech www.com/helpdesk, and I'll make it the Z drive, I guess, and it should let you do it. There we go. And how do you confirm that it's there? It's right here. Look at this. Now you have a help desk folder drive. Simple as that. Not complicated, right? I hope it wasn't. I hope that wasn't complicated. And then you could do the same things. Like literally, you go into the C drive. You go into the C drive. You go into the shared drive permissioning, and then you start granting access to specific folders to specific users. Now, how do you grant access to one person only? So it's the same thing. You right click on, like if you go to HR, you right click on it. You hit properties. You hit security. You hit edit. You hit add. I'm gonna do advanced. Find now, and I think I have an account here for somebody. So I'm gonna do. Let's do. Should I do? We have different groups, so it gets a little complicated. So let me go back here. I know I have a user account, Janet Smith. All right, Janet Smith. All right. So I'm gonna go into J Smith. And we're gonna hit OK. We're gonna hit advance. And it says inherit. Do you want her to inherit the whole folder, or do you want her to just have access to that one folder? So you hit edit and you hit modify, and then that's it. And you hit OK, and you hit OK, and you hit OK. And then what I would do is, if it was me, like literally if it was me, I would, like, this is a help desk thing. I would call her, I'd be like, hey, you should have access to the share drive now. Please call me when you can. I'll map it for you. And then you map it for them. You have the user log in. You do a screen share with them, and then you map the folder for them. And that's it. That's it. I hope this doesn't confuse you. But we're gonna start playing around with this. There's the reason why I'm creating multiple folders. But that's it. That's basically a tutorial on NTFS. I try not to make it too complicated. So hopefully you understand what I did to. Yeah, so when you work help desk or IT support, you need to understand the fundamentals of hardware support. So either your company is going to make you fix it, or you might have to deal with a vendor, whether it's HP, Dell, Lenovo, all hardware related stuff. You need to know how to do the basic troubleshooting steps. So what do I mean by that? I mean like the basic. So we're gonna look at this today. I'm over here, by the way. I'm looking at this right now. So I'm gonna flip it over here so you could see what I'm doing. So literally what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unscrew this, right? So you need to understand this because this is part of IT, help desk and IT support. If you don't understand this, obviously it's gonna have a bunch of problems. So you need to understand what I'm doing. So I'm unscrewing this one. Obviously, you have to look at the manufacturer website to make sure that you know how to actually open this and break and fix, if that makes sense. So just pull it out like that. It came right out. And immediately you see all the parts right over here. Obviously, this is kind of dusty, by the way. So obviously, when you're touching computer parts, you always want to have some sort of like electric static discharge bracelet or something. So what I do is usually I touch the metal part of it, and then that's it. So as a hardware technician or as a hardware tech, all you care about is changing the hard drive, which is right over here. You see it's over here. Changing memory, and this has a graphics card, which this one doesn't. You would change the the graphics card. So for hard drives, obviously you have your SATA cables, you have your eSATA cables, you have your connections right over here. So you would just put the connections on it, and you're good to go after that. So I can't take this out right now because it's stuck. I mean, I can, but I'm gonna have to like flip the whole thing to take it out. It's purposely set up that way so this doesn't come out. For the memory, obviously you just put your finger on it. So you hit the tabs. You see like there's a white tab right here. You lift that one. You hit this one right over here, and it comes right out. So you see your memory's out. Nothing crazy. And then you would be focusing on this for the most part. If you're troubleshooting hardware support for level 1 or level 2, you're doing this. So obviously if you have an issue with a blue screen of death, you want to find out what the dump error is, and then you find out based on that. And if it says the memory is bad, so you might want to switch out the memory. So you have all these. So say for example, I'll give you a hypothetical example. Say for example, let me take this out. Say for example, you have 2 slots available, and you have 2 that are already full, right? And you're getting a blue screen of death, and it says it's a memory issue. Obviously, you could just take this one out and put it over here. and maybe it's a bad slot, if that makes sense. So you might have a bad slot. That does happen sometimes. Sometimes you'll have a slot on the motherboard that's just probably bad. So if you grab this and put on another one, that might solve the blue screen of death issue. So that might resolve the blue screen of death, putting it somewhere else over here. You know, you don't know. So you want to try that. Same thing for your graphics card. If you have your PCIe graphics slot over here, if you have more than one, you might want to add it on the other one and see if that fixes the issue. You're having an issue with graphics cards, so you don't know that. Same thing with hard drives. Same thing. If you have an extra eSATA cable, you have extra cables, put it in there and see if that fixes the problem. Another thing you may need to do in your job, you may have to replace the power supply. So you're gonna have to learn how to do that. Every power supply is different. Every computer is different. But for this one, literally you take the screws out right over here. You take these all out right over here. These two on the top, and then these two on the bottom, and the whole power supply just comes right out. I'm not gonna do that today. And then you have your on and off switch, and your power plug, the three prong, and then your typical connections. You know, you have your sound, you have your internet port right over here, you have your USB ports right over here, you have your DVI, you have your VGA connection, and you have your like phone line or whatever phone line you have, you know. So yeah, so just memorize the cables, make sure you know which connector or which connection goes to your computer, if that makes sense, because every computer is different. So you may need an adapter as well. So that's it. And then you have your front panel. If you flip it over, you look at it, it's your USBs, your smart media, your micro USB, your SD mini, MMC, your connectors in the front right over here. As you can see it, there's a connectors right over here. And then you have your power cable up here. So it's just a basic video on hardware. So all you care about is changing memory, changing hard drives, changing graphics card. You add that to your resume, and also dealing with vendors. You may have to deal with vendors, or you may have to fix it yourself. And that's it. That's pretty much it. Just a basic video. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Peace. Later. Why does that scare me? That scares me because when you have a resume, it should not be longer than at least a page. Page and a half, you'll get away with it. But if it's a resume that's more than 2 pages, you're gonna no one wants to see no one wants to see more than 2 pages on the resume. The recruiter, the interviewer, the company, any type of IT company, they see the resume and they're gonna just grab your resume and put it in another pile, and then be like, you know what, I don't want to read this. It's too much. So they're gonna just throw it in the garbage. So your resume needs to be at least 2 pages. If it's 1 page, perfect. But if it's 2 pages, if you could make it 1 page, is even better. But the most I would say is 2 pages. Like my resume is 2 pages, and I never had issues with my resume. I never had people call me all the time with 2 pages on the resume. But 4 pages is way too much. Do not make it 4 pages or 3 pages. It's too much. No one has time to read all that. Even me, like if I were to hire you and see 4 pages on the resume, I won't hire you because I don't like to read 4 pages on the resume. And even a manager when I want to read 4 pages on the resume. So, all right. So we're gonna go back into this. So you have skills and summary, and you have computer skills. There's a way to combine them together. So if I was you, I have a sample resume here. It's around here somewhere. There it is. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna grab this one. I'm gonna grab this, and I'm gonna paste that there. So if I was him, I'll put his first name here, his street address, zip code, contact information, skills and summary. I'm gonna go back into my other resume. I'm gonna take. It's gonna be a little different from all the other resumes. You're gonna hit copy. So skills. I'm gonna get skills, and I'm gonna go to his resume. Right. See how it has all these skills. Like you don't need have a driver's license and a reliable car. You don't need to have that. That doesn't make any sense. So this we could put them together. So it would be something like this. So put whatever you have. So if you know how to do in-depth knowledge Microsoft's, and XP's expired already, so you don't want to talk about that. We could talk about 7. We're gonna delete that. Put 10 in there. We're gonna put for skills. We're gonna put server 2016, server 2019, since there is server 2019 now. No R2. R2 is not needed. And then we're gonna put as well as experience with macOS X, VMware, and virtual machines. And then for experience, server softwares include Microsoft SQL. We don't know how to do SQL, so we're gonna put Outlook. We're gonna put SSCM, which is, I went over that in the video, so I went over SSCM. 2019 software configuration operations manager. We're gonna put that in there. Let's see. So none of this. PowerShell, you don't know PowerShell, so I'm gonna delete that. Again, this is an entry level resume. So VMware Sphere, we're not gonna put that there. We'll put Exchange 365 because I gone over that. Some experience with web design, we're not gonna put that. Some experience with web design, okay, nope, we're not gonna put that. So I'm gonna delete all that. Okay. Experience with Active Directory, yes. DNS, ECP, and other servers such as blah blah blah. Yeah. Experience with distribution group creations, security groups, and password resets on Active Directory. I went over all that. Creation, experience with mailbox creation and Outlook profile configuration. All right, languages you don't gotta put. If you know a second, like if you know another language, if you know any language like Spanish or French or Italian or whatever, put that language in there. English, don't put English. English doesn't make any sense because you already know English. Everyone knows English. It doesn't make any sense for me to put English. So don't put English in there. So I'm gonna delete that. Education, definitely makes sense for you to put your high school or the school you went into. I wouldn't. Well, you can put the dots. Well, you don't have to put a dot. So I'll put this here. Move that to the right. Now, let's go back to the other resume, right? Give me a second. Go back to the other resume. So this is the resume I was looking at. So I'm gonna do it this way. You see what I'm gonna do right now. So I'm gonna grab this, right? I'm gonna go back into his. I'm gonna do a space. I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna copy all this. Paste. I'm gonna delete all this. I'm gonna leave it like that. And then you're like, Kevin, should I? So this is the thing is that some people don't have A+, don't have Network Plus, they don't have Security Plus. They're new in IT. They just started. They're trying to get their first job in IT, and they're studying their A+. Do I put I have A+ on my resume? Yes, you do. I'll show you what to write or what to do. So, personal certifications, you will put CompTIA A+, and you will put something like currently studying A+. Currently studying. Same thing if you're doing Network Plus. Currently studying. And then like, Kevin, I'm lying on my resume. No, you're not lying on your resume. You're telling the employer that you're studying the A+, you're studying the Network Plus. That means you're finding ways to make yourself better. Why am I putting the A+ on the resume? I'm putting the A+ on the resume because when they search for you online, they use an algorithm. They use as like a keyword search. They search the system, and usually they search for people that have A plus. So when you put that you have A plus or you're studying A plus, you have a higher rate or higher chance of showing up on your resume for someone that's looking for a job. So what I mean by that is basically when HR, IT manager, anyone that works in IT that's trying to look for an employer, they basically are gonna search for someone that has the A plus, or someone that is an entry level tech or has some sort of hands-on experience or some sort of A plus certification. So putting the A plus will actually help you, and actually people that don't have the A plus, they won't put it because they don't have it. This is the best way to do it. This will eliminate the other people that are competing against you that are trying to get the same job, if that makes sense. So to make yourself unique, you want to put the A plus on the resume. The reason for that is because it shows that you're actually studying and doing something as opposed to doing absolutely nothing. So that means you're working restaurant, you work probably in a hospital, you work in retail, and you're not doing anything. So basically, you're telling the employer, I'm studying the A plus right now. I'm trying to get into IT. I'm trying to transition from my current job to IT. Even though my current job is not IT related, I am studying the A plus. So I definitely want to get into IT because I'm studying the A plus. You're basically telling the employer that you're studying some sort of certification that has to do with IT. That's why I put that on the resume. So I tell people to put that on the resume. Even though they don't have it, I would put it on the resume because it tells the employer that you're trying to study or do something that's IT related. When I first started my first job in IT, I put I was currently studying the A plus, and I immediately got like 4, 5, 6, 7 phone calls because I did that. I wasn't doing that before. That was like one of the biggest mistakes I made as a IT new guy or IT newbie, is I didn't put any certifications on my resume, and I would never get a single phone call from anyone on my resume. As soon as I added that I'm studying the A plus, a bunch of people started to call me, and I don't want you guys making the same mistake. I want you guys to actually avoid making the same mistake and actually putting that you're studying the A plus, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm doing that, and that's why I'm putting it on this resume. This is the right way to do it. I know it sounds like you're lying. You're not lying. You're basically telling the employer you're actually studying and doing something. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So work experience. So he has like too much work experience, which is fine. Like, I want to make this into just 2 pages only. So he got promoted and everything. That's totally fine. We don't need any of this. This is probably page 2. I'm guessing this is page 2. Yeah, this is page 2. So we're gonna delete all this. This doesn't make any sense to have. Let me just go back for a second. Yeah, I was looking at this and I'm like, dude, you have so many pages on your resume. You shouldn't be having too much stuff on your resume like this. This is crazy. No, you will never get a phone call because you have too much on your resume. He's like, is this too much? I'm like, yes, it's too much, man. It's too much. So, just gonna go back a little bit. So we don't need this. See, you see how I reduced the resume from 4 pages to 2 pages, simply and easy. That's how you have to do it. Make your resume short and sweet, straight to the point. List everything you do. Don't overcomplicate things, and basically, don't put all your jobs. Like, if you have 2 jobs that you work, put your 2 jobs. But if you have 7 or 8 or 10 jobs, don't do that. Don't put all your jobs. We only want to see your current job. So if you're working your current job, that's 2019, put that in there. If you have a job before that has to do with customer service in some shape or form, put that in there too. Any job that you have that you could put on your resume, put it in there, because you probably don't have IT experience, so you want to put something there. Me, when I first started, I worked in restaurant for 3 years. I was a supervisor, and I put that on my resume. People call me because I was studying the A+. So definitely put something there. Don't put nothing in your resume. That's what I'm trying to say. So don't put too much and don't put too little. Just put the right amount on your resume, if that makes sense. All right. Let's go back into this. So that one looks a lot better. I'm going to go back to the other resume. So this is a sample resume. See how it says references? I don't have to do that. So we're gonna go back into his resume, his work experience. We're gonna do simply. We're gonna do this. We're gonna go here, and we're gonna do employment history. Copy. All right. We got rid of that now. So then we're gonna go back. Yeah, he worked in Macy's, he worked in a supermarket, and then that's it. That's all you gotta do. See how easy that was? And I'm putting his current job. So he worked April 2009 2016, and he graduated. He graduated in 2013, and he worked April 2015 to April 2015, October 2015, which is fine. And then that's it. That's pretty much it. You gotta figure a way out to make it unique. He doesn't seem like he has a break. He has a break on his resume, which is what I had. I had a break on my resume. What does that mean? So that means I missed a couple of months of not working. I wasn't working for 3 months or 4 months. He has the same thing that I have. I had a break on my resume, and it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's totally fine if you have a 3 month, 4 month, 6 month break on your resume. You probably have a personal or a valid excuse for not looking for a job or for not getting a job. My excuse was because I went on a job interview, and I had a break on my resume. I had like a big giant 4 month break, 6 month break on my resume, and I went to the employer. I was gonna work for JP Morgan as a desktop support engineer, and I didn't get that job because the other job that I had 2 jobs that wanted to hire me at the same time when I first started IT. JP Morgan was paying me $15 an hour, and then the other job, you guys probably don't know this, I never spoke about this. So JP Morgan was paying me $15 an hour, and then the other job was paying me $22 an hour. So I chose the one that was paying me $22 an hour. I had 2 offers, and both companies asked me the same questions on why do you have a break on your resume, Kevin? Kevin, why do you have a break on your resume? That doesn't make any sense. And I told him, oh, my dad got sick. He took dialysis, so I was taking care of my dad at the time. I have a valid excuse for having my resume like that. I was taking care of my dad, so I didn't have time to go to school. I didn't have time to work. I didn't have time to do anything. I was taking care of my dad the entire time. So that's the reason why I don't have job experience for 3 months or 4 months, and then okay, that's a valid excuse. That makes sense, Now, if you don't have a valid excuse, and that becomes a problem, you gotta have some sort of valid excuse. You can't just have a 3, 4, 5, 6 month break on your resume because it doesn't look good. It does not look good for you. It doesn't look good for the employee that's trying to hire you. The employer that's trying to hire you, it just doesn't look good. You have to have some sort of valid excuse as to why you have a giant bracket break on your resume. You can't just put nothing there. You have to have something in your resume, but at the same time, if you have nothing in your resume, that means you haven't been doing anything. That's not good. You have to have something there. So that's pretty much it. So let's go back into the resume. So full-time, your name, your skills, your education. He's studying the A+, he's studying the Network Plus. He went for a high school. And then that's it. That is pretty much it in a nutshell. So this is how I would make a resume. This is how I would edit the resume. It would not be 3 pages. It won't be 4 pages. If you have a resume that's like 1,000 pages, people are not going to read that. And he put, he didn't put, I put that he's studying A+ and Network Plus. It's because when they search for people that are looking for work, basically, he'll show up on the system because he's studying the A+. And then when they ask him about it, like, yeah, I'm studying the A+, I'm trying to get my A+, I'm in the process of getting it. What's your expectation date? What's your expected date to get it? And then you tell them, oh, I'm maybe a couple months, maybe 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, But you put that on the resume, show that you're actually doing something that's IT related. And then you could put more stuff in here. Like, I'm gonna go back to my other screen. You could go back here and you could put like hands-on training, hands-on something like this, hands-on hands-on training with the ticketing system Jira, because I went over Jira. You could also put hands-on training with hardware support, such as changing memory, hard drives, and graphics cards. There's stuff like that. See, it's just a little something there, so you could get creative with it. Get creative with your resume, and that's stuff that you actually know how to do. But don't lie in your resume. Put stuff that you actually know how to do, like hands-on. That you know how to change memory, change the hard drives, change this, change that. You know how to do Server 2016. You know how to do Server 2019. You know how to do password resets. You know how to do distribution groups. All that you put it on the resume. All that you put it on your resume. Even though you're not doing it in your job, your current job, you're working retail or whatever, restaurant, whatever, put it on your resume anyway. It shows that you actually know what you're doing. It shows that you know what you're talking about. Don't be afraid to put it on your resume. And they ask you questions about it in an interview, you know how to answer it because you did hands-on training. You did a lab on it and stuff like that. So I hope that makes sense, okay? So that pretty much wraps up this video. So you should see my screen, all right? And I am going to open a new tab. And I'm going to show you all the websites. So website number one is Indeed.com. So if you want a job and looking for a job right now, you go to Indeed.com, which I put CompTIA A+, and I put the current jobs, and you could sort by date basically. Indeed.com is it's a useful website for IT jobs. That is number one. So if you're looking for a job in IT, go to Indeed.com, because the reason why I'm making this video is because a bunch of people ask me what websites I should go to apply for jobs. And then some people tell me that I only gone to one or two websites, right? They only go to two websites. And I'm like, guys, you guys are killing me. Like, you guys got to do more than that. You can't just go to two websites. You got to do more than two websites. You got to do 5 or 6 or 7, you know. You have all these job openings, and you got to look at other different websites because you don't know if they're hiring. So you have to apply to every website and see who calls you, and also fix your resume as well. So that's the reason why I'm going over this. So here we go. Desktop support, right? That's another example. Desktop support engineer, you know. It's another example of when you know PowerShell, CCM. So that's website number one. I'm not gonna go in depth in this. I just want to show you all the websites. Website number 2, LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn, just give me a second. They are hiring right now. You see the jobs right here? Look at that. Look at all these jobs. Look at all these jobs right here. Look at this. So you could put desktop support, and you put New York, for example. Let's just see what pops up, right? So this is website number 2. You could use LinkedIn to apply for jobs. I'm just showing you real quick all the websites, right? Website number 3, which is one of my favorite websites, dice.com. You go and you just do the same thing. Desktop support, New York. Same thing. Sort by date, today. And then they have this job that's paying $100K right now. If obviously you know you have some experience, if you don't have experience, then I would just type. Let's just see, you type CompTIA A+. See what happens when I do that. Yeah, that doesn't work. We do entry level. That should work. Entry level tech support. Look at that right there. We'll put technical support. Entry level. That's for today. That's why it's doing that. Let's try entry level again. Last 7 days. There we go. I got some software developer jobs. We'll do desktop support. So you gotta check these. You gotta actually like you guys actually got to try, you know, to look for jobs. You know, don't tell me that there's no jobs available. Like, you don't tell me that, or don't tell me that you apply to 2 websites. People do that. They apply for 2 websites and then no one calls them back. Like, why is no one calling me? I'm like, you got to apply for more than one website.
One website is not gonna do anything. You have to go to multiple websites. It doesn't work that way. All right. And I'm saying this, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm just letting you know. Okay. All right. Next one. Next website. Glassdoor. So Glassdoor is right over here. You know, obviously you log in. So Glassdoor is right here. There's another website you could use for applying for jobs in IT. Next website. Idealist. And you're like, what the hell is this? So this website is, if you have no experience in IT at all, 0 experience, you get a volunteer internship job in this website. I know people don't know about this website. Some people might not know what the hell this is. Some people may have never seen this in their life before, but this website helps you get a job. If you want to do volunteer work, get some sort of experience, this is a very good website. Especially now, like, you know, like right now, right now in the job market, they are hiring for you know, for volunteer jobs. So you might have IT jobs here. You don't know. So you gotta see if they have anything. Let's just see if there's anything here for IT. And there is. Look at that. It's a bunch of things for IT. We'll do desktop support. That desktop support 9 days ago. System security, cybersecurity. So this is another website. Search. We'll do everywhere. If anything pops up. So these are internship jobs that you could get if you have no experience. You could just, you know, and other sections or other tabs. Some people don't know about this website, but basically it will help you get a job in IT. All right. Next one. So some of these websites I had never used in my life before, so I didn't know about them. I'm just sharing it with you guys now because I know about them now. CareerBuilder. So I used this website before, obviously. Desktop support. Let's just see what happens when you type that in. Look at that. They're hiring 9 days ago. They're hiring 6 days ago. 90K, 80K. Look at this. All right. Next tab. LinkUp. LinkUp is another website for IT jobs. Like, what is this, Kevin? You're mentioning some random websites. Like, nope, this is not a random website. LinkUp. Next website, LinkUp. Probably never even heard of this website. LinkUp is another good website to look for jobs. Another one. IT support. Give me a second. So you could search for jobs on Google. I didn't know about this. I'm just letting you know, guys. So that's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. So you go into here, right? I'll show you right now. Give me a second. So if you go into here, and you could just type your location, and then you can start looking for jobs on Google, for a job. So if you do desktop support, it will show jobs on Google. So I didn't know about this. So you could actually look for jobs on Google. I didn't know about that. Just so you know. Next one is monster.com. All right. So desktop support, same thing, or IT support, whatever you want to put. You know, I don't know what kind of job you're looking for, but you could just say at least I'm helping you with something for job looking, right? For looking for jobs. All right. Desktop support right there. Monster.com. Next website, USAjobs. And you're like, what the heck? Here's some random jobs you guys you putting in, your random websites you're putting. Nope. So I'm gonna do desktop support, New York, same thing, because I'm from New York. There we go. Same thing. Now, how do you attack a company that is looking for a job? Say, for example, an entry level job, like for example, we're gonna go back to Indeed.com, right? I'm gonna put CompTIA plus, right? And I'm gonna put today's date, and I am going to pretend I'm looking for a level 1 support job. So this one's fine. Say for example, this one, right? It's looking for someone that knows about IT support, tech support, knows about you know, something in IT. Trying to look for a different job, maybe one that there's no other ones is fine. All right, there's no other ones. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could probably put IT support, entry level IT. All right. Let's see. All right. Look for something that makes sense. Yeah, so this one, right? This is a little tricky because it's 2 years of experience. So say, for example, you're trying to apply for a job, right? For an IT job like this one, for example. Let's just do a hypothetical example, right? You wanted to match your resume. So like you put your name, whatever your name is. Like my name is Kevin Apollinario. Here on the right, you would put your, so it depends how you have your resume set up, obviously. So you could do that, or you could do your address here. Then you could do your phone number here. Then you do your email. And then you go all the way down and you put your job experience or your goals. So you can put your goals, your job experience, whatever, right? You could put your experience right here. And then, you know, make it stand out, you highlight it. You put all your experience here, and then you start putting your jobs. Like you put all your jobs here, right? Your jobs. Let me get out of that for a second. So start putting your jobs in here, right? Put all your jobs here, all your jobs, whatever you work. I don't know where you work. So you hit enter, and then you put your training or skills. So you put skills here, and then you start putting whatever you know. So then when you put whatever you know here, this is a really important part, you match it with whatever they have here. So if you know how to do Office 365, you put Office 365. If you know how to do SSEM, you put SSEM. If you know how to do password resets, you put password resets right here. If you know how to do any of these things that are included on this job description, you put it in here. And you make it match as much as you possibly can with your resume or with your whatever you're applying for. And then, I mean, obviously down there you put your education, and then maybe some volunteer work that you have done, you know, volunteer experience, whatever you have. I'm not sure what kind of resume you have, but you get the point, right? You get what I'm talking about. So you wanna do that with your resume. You wanna match it as much as you can with your resume. So just so I make it more clear, because you guys are probably asking me like, what is he talking about, right? I'm gonna make it more clear since you guys don't know what I'm talking about. So let me do this. Let me go into Google Drive, right? Give me a second. I'm going to open up a resume. I'm going to open up a resume and show you what I'm talking about right now. Like an actual resume, my resume. All right. And I'm just going to delete some stuff because it's just too much information. All right. So like this one, right? See my resume right here? And I can show you my resume. This is one of my resumes. I have like different types of resumes. And you put your technical overview of what you know. See how it says Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Vista, Server 2012, 2000, you know. Obviously, you don't put Server 2012, you put 2016. Obviously, you know, you don't put Server 2008, you put 2019. You know, you have to match it with the job, you know. And it says I know Active Directory, DNS, CCP, you know. I have experience with various applications like Norton Ghost, you know, Norton Security, VirtualBox, SCCM. So you gotta match it with what you know in your job. So here I have my volunteer experience, my certifications. I did A+ in 2014, and that's it. That's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I just wanted to show you that. I wanted to show you all the websites, and I wanted to show you how you could use your resume and match it with the job you're applying for. Tools is what you care about. So anything here you will deal with in your job. So you might do computer management. You might add people to certain groups locally on the computer. If they want local admin rights, you would do it in here and just add the person in here and then hit add and then add them here. That might be something you will be doing. So you need to know admin tools or administration tools because some of these things you might be using in your job. So if you run this as admin or you right click on it, run as administrator, obviously you can elevate the account. I'm not gonna do it on this one, but you run as admin. And since this isn't the domain controller, you will always be expected to put in your IT help desk account or whatever it is minus administrator. So you will always be expected to elevate your account. And then you're actually gonna add the user to the admin group. That's one group. If you're gonna make them an admin, you add them to that group. If they're trying to remote in, obviously you add them to remote desktop groups and you have to enable you have to enable remote desktop services, which would be under right here on the C drive Explorer. This PC, right click this PC, hit properties, hit remote settings, which is not gonna, it's probably gonna ask you for my admin credentials again. And then basically, you'll allow the connection for this remote desktop to work. So that's something you may need to worry about. So this is some of it. So computer management has device manager as well. So you will be removing and uninstalling drivers. So like if for example, a Logitech camera is not working, you will remove it from here. If for some weird reason the display drivers are not working, you would uninstall it and reinstall it here. If a keyboard and mouse is not working, you will uninstall and reinstall it here. If for some weird reason the network adapter is not working, you will uninstall and reinstall it here. So these are things you need to know if you're doing computer management or opening up computer management. You run it as admin and you uninstall and reinstall the devices or the drivers, if that makes sense. Either that or you go to the professional website, which is HP or Dell or Lenovo, any of these websites. You will go to the websites and basically just download whatever you need. And if I'm gonna open it up as an admin just to show you. So if you open it up as administrator, just a hypothetical example. If you open it up as administrator, you have the ability to roll back the driver. So like if you have like this one, for example, this one that says Microsoft Basic Display driver, you have the ability to roll it back. If you were to update it, you could roll it back. You could disable the device, you could uninstall it. So usually an uninstall and reinstall fixes a bad driver. Like if someone is plugging in a USB and it's not recognizing it, just try to uninstall, reinstall it, and go here, remove it, re-add it again. Otherwise, plug it into another port on the computer. That might fix that problem. So here you will update your drivers as well. Obviously, you could update the driver right over here. You go to properties. You have your network drivers right over here. And then if you want to add a new driver, you just right click on the top. Oh, not right click, sorry. You click on the top and you click add legacy hardware. You hit next, you hit next, you hit next, and then you just select the hardware that you want to install for someone. Sometimes you may have to do this
for some weird reason, it just doesn't pick up the driver. So you might have to go into the CD and actually grab the disk from the website and actually run it, if that makes sense. So that's something that you may be concerned about. Also part of disk management is learning how to partition hard drives. You may do this in your job. You may not do this in your job. You may do it in your job. So really depends on the company. Obviously you could do change a drive letter path or mark partition as active, or shrink the volume. If you need to do that, you could do that, or extend the volume. You could do that as well. So those are things you need to know about. If you're doing level 1, you may or may not encounter it. And then you need to know your services. You have your services, like for example, like someone's having an issue that they can't search on Outlook. You go to Windows search, you stop the service, you start the service. Another person's having an issue where the printer is not working. So you may have to start the print services, may stop it, may start it. Maybe something else is going on. Maybe remote desktop is disabled for some weird reason. So you have to go to remote desktop services, and you may have to start it again. You don't know. So like little things you should know. You should understand your services and how they work and what they do and stuff like that. So that's basically this. And then we get out of this, and then you have your disk defragmentation. So if you have a regular hard drive, then you may defrag the hard drive on your computer. You have your disk cleanup. So if you want to clean up the computer, you click on that, and it gives you the option to clean up the computer if you're trying to clear up some space. So sometimes with some users, you will have issues where they have no disk space on their computer. So it would say like the C drive is full. Like this would be highlighted in red. See how I have a lot of space? This may be highlighted in red, and you may have to clear up some space for them. So that's something that you could find useful for you. Another thing you want to look at is event viewer. So sometimes you may have something that crashed recently, like the graphics card, the mouse is not working, the keyboard's not working, an application stops working. You may want to go into your event viewer and actually check the settings here. Obviously check the warning labels, check what's going on with it. Try to grab as much information as you can with event viewer. So as a new technician, as a new IT person, you may have to check the logs to see why this computer is not working. So you will be responsible for this. So this is so much easier to do. This is easy to do, or this is something that will help you out. This is definitely something I recommend doing if you're trying to troubleshoot an IT issue on that Windows 10 computer, if that makes sense. Don't worry about this. Don't worry. Actually, a local security policy, you may have access to this, you may not. Don't worry about this. Performance monitor, that will help you out and let you know what's going on with the computer. It will tell you like literally what's going on with the computer. It'll give you a report, and it'll tell you like if something weird is going on with the computer. It'll tell you right here and the processes and stuff that's running, if that makes sense. So something you may want to know. You have your print management, you have your recovery drive, registry editor. If you have a lot of experience, then you would be touching the registry. If not, don't touch it at all. Resource monitor, which tells you more information about your computer and what's going on with it. So I'm going to open that up real quick just to show you. Obviously, you have your CPU, your network, your disk, your CPU spike, everything. It tells you everything about the computer. It tells you what's causing it to lag, what's causing it to crash, how's your memory doing. It tells you a little bit of everything, which is something you may want to understand and know, and why, because you may want to understand why your computer is slow. Maybe it's running slow. Maybe something weird is taking up a lot of space. You don't know. So this is something you could run. This will help you out. Definitely very useful to help. Very useful for you. I'm just going to close out of that. Services, I just went over this. Just know your services. If you're new to IT, try to understand what services do. Like if you do Windows search service, that's for like Outlook. That's for Outlook or searching in general for everything. So you may have to, this is email right there. So if someone's having an issue with Outlook, you may have to stop the service and start it again. So that might fix that problem. So, stuff like that. And then you have a system configuration, which tells you information about your computer. So this is super duper important stuff that you may do in your job. You may not do in your job, So I think I spelled the name wrong. So, Yeah, so you have your services right over here, your system configuration. You could boot to diagnostic startup, normal startup. You could boot into safe mode. When it restarts, it goes into safe mode. You have your boot log information. You have your OS boot information. You have your advanced options right here, number of processes that can run. You also have your services. Once again, services that are running. You have your startup, and you have your tools right over here. So this is stuff that you need to understand and know. It's really important. You have your system information as well. It tells you about your computer, task scheduler. They may want a certain task that they're trying to run on the computer every day at 5 p.m., every day at 2 p.m., every day at 4 p.m. You don't know. So you might want to get familiarized with this as well. You have your Windows Defender as well. Obviously, you can't touch this if you're not, like, you have to have some sort of admin rights. This is your memory diagnostic. So if you want to find out if the memory is bad on the computer, you can run memory diagnostic on the computer, and it scans the computer to see if it has any memory issues right there. So you restart for check your memory. So get familiar with some of these admin tools. They will help you out. This is something that you need to know if you're troubleshooting someone's computer. You also need to be familiarized with mapping the drive. So literally you open up the C Drive Explorer, you right click on it, and you hit map a network drive, and you may have to map a drive for them. You don't know. So that might not, that will be common in your environment. Just memorize the share path directory and just map the drive for them. Another thing you might be doing is obviously creating shortcuts for them on the bottom of the taskbar. So you can unpin, repin, up to you. It's just something that you would see in your job. Understand about Task Manager. Understand Task Manager, how to close out certain processes that are running. So like if I open up Edge, for example, and Edge is not responding, and you have to reopen it again, you end the task. Understanding how to create shortcuts, how to bookmark stuff. You may have to make a bookmark or something for someone. You don't, maybe not. Understand the default applications on Windows 10. So you go to default apps. You may have to change this to Outlook. You may have to change this to Chrome, things like that. Those are the things that you will see in your job. So also understanding the Windows 10 settings like privacy, camera privacy. You may have to allow the camera to work. You don't know. That's probably something you need to do. So you hit the allow camera, or you may have to allow the microphone. You may have to turn it on, turn it off. You don't know. You may have to disable certain notifications that they get on Outlook. You may have to go here and uncheck it. You don't know. Also, you have to know about your sound settings. So, you go to your sound settings, you right click on the sound, right click sound, and just make sure the sound is working. Make sure it's set to the default sound, like it's set to the right one. Make sure their microphone is working. And just make sure that these things are working for them, because they're doing a lot of video calls, a lot of phone calls and stuff like that. So you're expected to know what that is, and you're expected to know how that works, if that makes sense. So that's it. That's pretty much it for Windows 10. I mean, I could go more in depth. I'm not going to, because it's going to be too much information. So knowing your task manager, knowing your admin tools, knowing where things are, knowing how to open up stuff in safe mode. Like I'm going to go over that right now. I'm going to go over that in 2 seconds, but let me go over Mac now. So stuff like that. It's this stuff you need to know. Let me just shut this down. Before I even do that, obviously you have your other stuff like your CMD, IP config. You need to know what that is. You need to know IP config, flush DNS. You need to know about ping. So ping.10.1.10.4 ping, because we want to know if the internet is working on this computer and ping is correctly set up. You might want to know about control panel. Change this to large icons. BitLocker encryption. Maybe a company needs to enable BitLocker encryption. I don't know. Maybe the user's account is getting locked out because they have their credentials stored in Windows Credentials Manager. So you have to remove it from here. Maybe someone is having another issue with their power settings. You have to change the power settings so the computer doesn't turn off or time out after a certain amount of time. Or maybe you have to go to the region and change the region. or change the keyboard and change the user login settings. You don't know. So all these things you want to get familiarized with, your keyboard as well, the speed of the keyboard, getting familiarized with taskbar and navigation. Maybe if depending on the person, they may want something done a certain way, you know. Getting familiarized with Sync Center. Maybe that company uses Sync Center for some weird reason, so you may have to enable Sync Center. You don't know because every company is different. So things like that, and your devices and printers, and how to add a printer, how to remove a printer. Obviously you connect to it. If you can't find it, you add it through IP address. You add the TCP/IP section. You hit next, and you just put the IP, and it connects to it automatically. You could try pinging the printer as well with the IP address. If it's 10.1.2.10 or whatever. You can add learning how to add devices. You may have to add a Bluetooth headset, or maybe they want a headphone setup. I don't know. So you may have to do that as well. So you don't know. So like a lot of different things. And obviously you need to get familiarized with fonts as well, because some companies may ask you to download fonts for them. So you may have to drag and drop a font and put it in here. You don't know. So a lot of different things. A lot to go over. I don't want to cover. I'm just covering the basics today. You go to view network status, change adapter, internet. Your properties on the internet. You may have to mess around with this. You may not. Depends on the company. So really depends on the company and what they have set up. So you may have to touch some of the stuff here. You don't know. So you may have to go into the TCP/IP before, make sure it's set up correctly. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. You may have an issue where someone calls and for some reason their adapter is just disabled, and you have to go in and enable that. You don't know. Like a lot of things could happen. So this is stuff that I need to go over, because you might see it in your job. You may not see it in your job. So little things like that, if that makes sense. So and obviously your search functionality, like Windows search settings. So it's the indexing options. You may have to go here. You may have to go to the advanced tab, and you may have to play around with this. So like these are all level 1 things you need to know. Not everything, obviously, you're not gonna know everything, but like things like this. Rebuild the index of that computer, or of that, of that Outlook profile. You don't know. You may have to go into hidden files and see certain files that are running. Show hidden files, show files. Obviously it's going to be blocked here for me, but that's basically what you would do. You would do that. You may have to allow hidden files. You don't know that. So little things like that. So that pretty much is a basic understanding of pretty much an understanding of Windows 10. I don't want to go too technical with it because I don't want to confuse you, but you can go back to this and you could probably say that you understand somewhat of Windows 10, at least a little bit. So hopefully this covers some of it, Hopefully I covered some of Windows 10. Now I'm going to go over Mac now. So for Mac, it's just a basic video today. For Mac, all we care about is, so just remember that Windows and Mac are similar, except the start menu is on the Apple top over here. The start menu is up here, and just remember that it's just similar. It's almost similar. So for Mac, you have your system preferences, you have your sound, you have your display settings. You want to change the resolution. You have your security and privacy. So maybe for some reason the download is being blocked. It's because of this. So you might have to go here, uncheck it, and you may have to put your password in and unlock it. And then you may have to allow that specific application to run on this computer. If that makes sense. So you go here, firewall. So for Mac is it's not that complicated. For Mac, you have to care more about like the simple stuff. So your search is on the bottom left hand side for Windows. See here, you could search something. On a Mac machine, it's actually on the top right hand side. So it's Spotlight right here. So you could just create a new folder, call it tests, And Spotlight is super duper smart. It knows where it is. So it tells you where, it tells you that's right here. You just click on it and it takes you directly to that folder. So all you care about is Spotlight. Care about is keychain, which you probably won't see it here, but it's not going to be here. What you care about is keychain. Keychain will be somewhere else. You go into applications or utilities, I believe. Keychain will be right over here. So you care about is keychain access. Maybe they have the old password store in here. You may have to delete it and remove it. That's something that might happen in your job. I don't know if your company's dominantly Mac, then you need to know what keychain is. You need to know what this utility is really important. This is like for partitioning, just like disk management for Windows. You need to know activity monitor. So activity monitor is something that you may encounter in your job. You may have to close out certain things from here. You could do that here. This is something you get. So you click on it, and you hit force quit, and basically it gets rid of it. So you may have to know that. You don't know. And then you have your screenshot. This allows you to take a screenshot of the whole area. If you want to take a screenshot of a specific area, you may do this. You may not do this. So you can make it a screenshot. You can make it smaller. You can make it bigger. Up to you. You have your script editor. So just like Task Manager, you have Activity Monitor, or you could do Force Quit. It's like Task Manager. So basically, you go to the top right here and you do Force Quit, and basically you force quit whatever is giving you a problem. Like this keychain, I want to get rid of it. I just do Force Quit, and I'll close out of it. For Mac, you want to do Force Quit. For Mac, you want to log in as another user. So maybe they're having an issue, and you want to make sure that maybe the profile is not corrupted. So what you do is you create a new user account on the Mac machine. So you go into System Preferences, you go into Users and Groups, and you make a brand new account right over here. You hit the little lock right over here. You put your password in, you unlock it, and then you make a brand new account, whatever it is, and you log in as that account. If they're not having that issue, log in as that account, then there's something wrong with the computer. There's something wrong with that user account. So it's almost similar to troubleshooting Windows. So those are things you care about. Obviously, you have your Safari over here, which is like your web browser. Here you have different functionalities. Here you have your new tab, open file, open location. You have your autofill, you have your grammar, you have your substitution, you have your view tabs. You want to view certain things. You have your history. You have your bookmarks. If you wanna add a bookmark, you could do it. You could do it right over here. You have your windows. You can minimize certain things, and then that's it. So for me, like, this isn't that bad. You force quit it right over here if you want to close out the whole thing completely. Because whenever you basically go here and you think it's closed, it's not. It's still open. So the little dot on the bottom of it, that means it's still open. So you have to literally go into it and then hit quit, and then it'll completely close out of it. So, and you have your trash bin right over here. So any program or any app you want to get rid of, you just drag it to the trash bin. So you go here. So you quit. Just quit. That's it. This isn't complicated. This shouldn't be complicated. Mac's not so bad. You have your applications right over here. Calculator, your book, your FaceTime, Safari right over here. Time Machine. Time Machine, it allows you to go back in time. That's what Time Machine does. And you have your utilities. You have your airport utility. You have your audio. You have Bluetooth. You want to set up a Bluetooth file exchange. Bootcamp to put Windows 10 on it. You have your console. You have your migration assistant tool. If you're trying to migrate data over, this will help you transfer data over. This is something that you may need to use or may not. And then you have your CMD or your command line. So for this one, it's going to be ifconfig instead, if that makes sense. So you do ifconfig, and this one has ping google.com. You can ping google.com, and it should work. See? It's almost the same thing. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it for Mac. It's just like a little short video on Mac. So all you care about. So I'm gonna shut that down. You said it went over Mac. So I'm gonna underline that. Next one is Active Directory. So I have Active Directory open already. Have it right over here. So for Active Directory, all you care about for Active Directory, if you're new to IT and you're trying to get your first job in help desk, let me log in. So all you care about is RSAT tools, which is how to install RSAT tools, which I have a video on that. And all you care about is Active Directory is basically creating a new account. So you right click, you open up Active Directory. You're not gonna have access to Server Manager. Like no one's gonna give you access. That's too much access. So you will not have access to all this. This is too much. So they'll probably give you access to Active Directory users and computers and RSAT tools and stuff like that. So literally what you do is you open it up. You care about is creating a new account. So you create a new user and call it Kevin. And then Kevin. And hit next. And you just care about this, the password. Password 123. Capital P, password 123. And then you care about, are you setting up a new hard? You want him to log, when he logs in, he has to change it on the next login. You know, password's not expired, password doesn't get disabled, you know, all those good things, you know. So basically what you're doing, and all you care about is just adding information here about their name, the office they work for, the address, the account, their profile, their telephone, their organization, adding them to security groups. So you hit the plus sign, you hit the advanced, and adding them to a specific group. You would do it in here, obviously. That's all you care about. And if you want to get into further detail and find out more about like where is this located on the computer, as a new technician, I would enable the advanced features. And when you do that, and if you go into Kevin, double click on Kevin, it tells you where the object's located. So this will tell you the location of the object and where it is exactly on the domain controller of Kevtech. So all you care about is creating user accounts, creating distribution groups, and creating security accounts. So obviously a distribution group is a group that basically it's a distribution group that you send an email to and everyone receives that email, whoever's part of that group. Just make it as simple as possible. That's what distribution group is, or what it means for some people. Try to make it as simple as possible. Security group typically are used for like shared drive permissioning. Someone will be adding a security group if they're trying to have access to a certain application on Citrix. Someone will be added to a security group if they need access to VPN, because you have these security groups for different things. So it really depends on the company, if that makes sense. So all you care about is security groups, user account creation, and that's it. That's pretty much it for Active Directory. And then you have your hardware break and fix. I have a video on that, and I'm going to go over that right now. So go over that right now. And then that's it for that one. And then you have your Microsoft Office suite. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to shut this down. And I'm going to go into my account. So all you care about for troubleshooting, break and fix, Outlook. You care about you open up Outlook. Obviously, you care about the add-ins. If Outlook keeps crashing, maybe an add-in's causing it to crash. You want to go into COM add-ins and just uncheck the add-ins. Do process of elimination. One of the add-ins is probably causing it to crash. That's for Outlook. On top of Outlook, you may be asked to grant permission access to calendar. So you may have to go into properties and you may have to share. I have a video on that, by the way. Another thing you may be concerned with is probably an issue where they can't print. Obviously, I said reset the print services, and that will fix that problem. That's just Outlook, you know. And then if you want to get really in depth with it, obviously you go into your local C drive, local C disk, users, main user. You don't see it here. It'll be under app data, local, Microsoft, Outlook, and it would be here. So it would be here, obviously. So you know, so you could go into it and look for it. which obviously you could do it this way, you could do it the other way, where basically you open up Outlook, you go into File, you go into Account Settings, and it will tell you here where it's located. See, it says always see Outlook profile. You could just open up File Location. It's literally right there. Like, you don't have to kill yourself, you know? It's right there. So understanding how this stuff works. That's for Outlook. For Word, same thing. For if you have issues, someone's having issues with Word, try to open it up in safe mode, go into File, go into Options, uncheck any add-ins that you need to uncheck. Maybe the add-ins is causing it. You may have to open up winword.exe/safe. So that opens it up in safe mode. You see up there it says safe mode. So you may have to do that. You don't know. You figure out maybe an add-in is causing it to crash. Excel, same thing. On Excel, you could actually literally do browse open and do open and repair right over here. So you can look for the file and do open and repair. Maybe it's a bad file. You may have to run a repair on it. You don't know. You can do that. On top of that, if you're having issues with it, having issues with that file, just check the add-ins, see if anyone else could open the file, see if someone else could open it, see when was the last time it worked for them. For an Excel file, right-click on it, go to previous versions. That might fix that problem too. You don't know. If it's on a shared drive, you should be able to go back in time and open a previous version. That might fix that problem. So for PowerPoint, same thing. Run a repair on it. Open it up in safe mode. That's it. Basic stuff. That's it. So that's all you care about for that. It's just a basic video. For Dual, you have to log into, because you need to know some sort of two-factor authentication. If you don't know anything about two-factor authentication, you might have problems right now. So send me a push. So for this, for dual authentication, every company uses some sort of authentication tool. So you might have to unlock them right over here and then hit save changes, or you may have to go into your Active Directory and just unlock the account. Like I've gone over unlock account. So let me open it up one more time to show you. So here you may have to add a user in here. You may have to add a brand new user, like this one's going to be called Tess. And then you have to put their full name, their email address, and then you send them an invite. You send them an invite to that, to the dual authentication. You can send enrollment email, and then basically what's supposed to happen is you get an enrollment email like this, and it says your organization is rolling out a new dual security. Begin right here, and you click on the link, and then you hit start setup, and then you put a mobile phone, and then you put your phone number in here, or you can put tablet if you have a tablet, Android. I have Dual already installed, and you just grab your phone and you scan it. So you'll be setting up something like this for a new hire or someone that's trying to log into VPN or any of these applications that require two-factor authentication. So you have to know how to do this. That's something that I'm going over right now. So they can't log into VPN because the dual enrollment has never been set up. So that's probably why they can't log in. So just keep that in mind. On top of that, just to show you, on top of that, maybe they can't log in because they're locked out of Active Directory. So you may have to go into Active Directory right over here. You may have to go to Kevin, whoever the account is, and you have to go into account. You may have to go unlock account. Or maybe their password just expired recently. So you may have to go into the user account and reset their password. Just do right click, reset password. So things like that is what you're worrying about if you're doing level 1. Obviously, I have a bunch of other videos on different things that I gotten over before. So I don't want to get too complicated with this, but that's basically it. And this is like basic video, the basic stuff on video. Look, I send an enrollment. And and then you actually unlock the account right here and what have you. So nothing crazy, nothing complicated. And you see it's a test one. So it says I enrolled. Look at this. It says I enrolled. And it says what? I live in Queens, so it says I enrolled in Queens. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Today's just a basic video of level 1 stuff. If you know how to do some of these things, or at least half of it, you'll be good in IT. You'll be good in trying to get that first job in IT. But try to install a server in your spare time. Try to install Windows 10 in your spare time. Try to get your hands on Mac a little bit, because you may have to do Mac in your job. You may not. You may have to. It depends on the company. So try to learn these things as much as you can. Just a basic video of covering all the basic level 1 stuff. All right. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys have a great Sunday. All right. Take care. Peace. Later.